Hello and welcome to Watching Worst Films, your guide to Razzie history. Each week we tackle another Worst Picture winner and the other winners and nominees in the second half of the podcast. My name is Jericho Reed, with me, Kyle Szymanski.
Hello.
And we're normally effusive about our guests, the people, the lineup we sort of curate, like the people, dear friends, people who I think incredibly highly of. We've got a break from that because we are joined by someone whose opinion I do not hold in any regard whatsoever. We're joined by Isaiah Berra, president of the Kevin Costner fan club. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I don't think you will be. But no, this is going to be a blast for me. But I already have, this shield up and the sword out.
Good.
You guys are not. This is not going to be a podcast that you guys look back on memorably and are happy. Oh, I remember that one time Isaiah came on. We should get him back. No, this is a one-off. So anyone who likes listening to me is gonna have to find me on a different podcast after today.
Because of course we are tackling 1997 and the winner, The Postman, Kevin Costner's third feature.
Oh, I don't know I've seen them all. I don't know the number.
Well, you haven't seen them all because this is our history with the film. None of us have seen The Postman.
No.
So, in a break from tradition, we are recording this part of the podcast blind. Like, we haven't seen the film. So, zero experience. It's pirated. It's on the screen in front of us.
Shameful.
I'm looking at it.
Shame.
Kyle, what did you...
I've seen Waterworld, so I think I've seen this. that's my experience.
Okay. Similarly, I have not seen Waterworld, but I have seen Dances with Wolves. Listeners to the podcast will know I'm always going on about watching every Best Picture winner. So I was mandated to watch one Kevin Costner film, arguably the best one. And I was like, this is not for me. This is not it. And so I haven't checked it anymore. And I'm dreading this 3-hour-long journey through an apocalyptic wasteland.
Enthused as well, don't you?
Okay, now over to Isaiah.
Well, I've seen every Kevin Costner movie almost.
Yeah.
This is one of the few that I have not seen. I already know it's going to be great.
Is there a reason you've not seen it?
This one?
Yeah.
Just no specific reason. I mean, I know it's going to be awesome. So this movie's 10 out of 10. Another stellar, flawless Costner performance where he's just a cowboy. And
He's not a cowboy, he's a mailman.
shut up. He's always a cowboy. He's always a cowboy. And no, this is another just Kevin Costner vehicle that's just going to be, 100 miles an hour down the highway.
For 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Slow motion.
Pacey,
It's a long
momentum.
trip.
It's gonna be like Mad Max Fury Road, just at the pace of Lord of the Rings.
But I am very disappointed that we're pirating it. I do want to say that we should be paying, if anything, extra for Kevin Costner movies off of those streaming services, and willingly.
Yeah, well, we'll donate to his Patreon or whatever he's got. We'll PayPal him $1.
We'll watch an episode of We'll watch an episode of what's his show?
Yellowstone.
We'll watch
what do you mean, what's his show? It's like the biggest show on the planet
I
right
was
now.
gonna say Yellow Jackets, and I was like, no, not that
Oh my
one.
gosh.
There are too many yellow shows out now.
The Yellowstone is like the biggest show on the planet.
I don't watch
Because
TV.
of one reason.
This is a movie podcast.
Because of Kevin
He's
Costner.
coming back from it, isn't he? Directing a new movie because of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got the massive.
He's getting a third in his trilogy of Waterworld and Postman, and there's gonna be, I don't know, some brainy thing here, but I thought Yellow Jacket was or Yellowstone.
Yeah, exactly,
You
exactly.
threw me off there. I thought Yellowstone spurred him to have his great comeback now, as a director again.
What do you mean comeback? He was never down.
When's his last film he directed off?
He was never
won a
down.
Razzie. He won a Razzie, Isaiah. This is why we're here.
Yeah, he won. He's the best.
Okay, I think this is where we pause and me and Kyle gather a little bit more evidence for our case that Kevin Costner is not the greatest filmmaker of all time. And we see if we can perhaps talk Isaiah around. So what is going to be 3 hours for us will be a mere moment for you, and we will be back with our views on the film. Okay, so we are back, and let's throw over to Isaiah first. What did you think of the movie?
Well, as president of the Kevin Costner fan club, I got to tell a quick story. And I'd never seen Kevin Costner in person, but I knew from like from when I was in high school, and my graduation gift was not like, you know, like a fancy watch or something or a tie. Yeah. Like it was a signed Field of Dreams poster.
Okay.
Wow.
I knew from that time in my life, like if I ever met him or saw him, that would be historic for me.
Yeah.
And just this past year, his band, Kevin Costner and Modern West, was coming through Calgary, where I live. And I got a ticket to go. And I'm like, I could not believe that I was going to see him in person. And the day of the concert, I almost didn't go. Oh. For the pure fear of, what if Kevin Costner isn't Kevin Costner? What if I go in, like, because, you know, out of all the celebrities in the world, he's the only one who I'd actually ever be nervous to meet. Like, I don't care about celebrity culture or whatnot, but I mean, he's different. He's on a different level, right? But
he's a messiah type figure. He's more than a man. He's almost.
So I went to the concert, and it was absolutely incredible. But I was never within 30, 40 feet of him. So it was from a distance, and it was a spiritual experience, right? Seeing Kevin Costner live. But I do believe that there has to be a moment in my life when I will meet Kevin Costner in person. It might be just in passing on a street by coincidence. It might be, you never know, but I just know that we are destined to meet. And I've always wondered, it's kept me up at night. What do I say? How do I react in the moment I meet Kevin Costner? Do I freeze? Like I need to have something canned. And I know now, after seeing this movie, the day I meet Kevin Costner, I will say, Kevin, please swear me in as a member of the restored United States of America Postal Service.
Amazing. So I think we owe you an apology, because I came in certainly very anti-Costner, and I kind of loved that film. I had a blast with this film.
Exactly. I mean, the length is what I said. I was dreading the length.
Yeah.
Not 93 minutes. Indifferent on Costner, but I am second in line to join your fan club now as well. Yeah, that was fucking great. That is, especially how miserable I've been over the past few episodes. This is a fucking blast.
Yeah, I honestly like this more than Dances with Wolves.
Oh yeah.
This is better than the Best Picture, yeah.
100%.
I'm like, I don't know what won in 97, but it should have been this. If you've given it to Dances with Wolves.
This is my favourite Costner. And it was Waterworld for me, but now it's this. Hands down. Hands fucking down.
So this, of course, our love of this film was not shared by critics or indeed the general public. On a budget of 80 million, would you like to hazard a guess as to how much this made?
Isaiah first.
80 million?
Yeah.
Oh, this bombed.
Yeah.
It had, geez, it's got to be 30 million it made.
I'm going to go with 60.
It's 20 million.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
It was a Christmas Day release, apparently. Oh. So they're going for award season. They're going for the symbolic significance. Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, born on the 25th.
Who's going
to
see
Postman, born on the 25th.
Christmas Day, though, you know? Oh, shit, that's
so we're like, you put this out in summer and it would have been wall to wall, but we're just blaming the release schedule.
Yes, 100%. That's the same kind of bomb as Waterworld then, is it?
That might even be worse.
That is fucking...
I'm pretty sure Waterworld
bigger
broke
budget,
even, and that was considered... Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I have no clue what
I think Waterworld had a bigger budget. I assume it had a bigger budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's more pyrotechnics and stuff with Waterworld, isn't it? And stuff, whereas this is just a couple horses.
Couple of horses. 100 horses and Tom Petty for 10 minutes. Like, that's where your budget's going.
Okay, so to set up the film, the Postman takes place in a post-apocalyptic United... Is he the post? I'm saying post a lot. Postman, post-apocalyptic United States. And so we open and Costner is just riding a mule through a wasteland. Like you said, it was Mad Max.
Yeah, I mean, it is mad. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
I joked earlier, it's very Beyond Thunderdome as well. Like the way it looks.
Yeah.
Not Road Warrior or anything. It's also what I thought it was. I assumed Waterworld's a water film. This is the desert film. Like, it's going to be sand forever. So this opening is what I thought we were going to get throughout the whole film. I thought it's the poster as well. You know, maybe that was ingrained in my brain.
Well, we should have said maybe in our experience of this film, yours was The Simpsons.
Yes. Which does say that he's just walking through a desert.
Yeah. So I was expecting more like less plot and more just Kevin Costner rambling on his own.
Meeting characters.
Like I expected The Road. That was my expectation, was The Road with Kevin Costner, and that's it, how you open, and it doesn't sort of sustain that for very long. But he bounces on a trampoline. He's enjoying himself in the wasteland. He's having a good old time, high old time. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, really just best part of the opening 5 minutes was I immediately proved you wrong when in the, pre-show you said that Kevin Costner was not a cowboy and this wasn't a Western. One of the opening shots is legit a aerial shot where Costner is riding on a horse and the voiceover says, "In those days he walked alone."
Yeah.
And it's like, what more do you want out of a Western or a cowboy movie than Kevin Costner walking around a barren landscape on a horse by himself? Like, every Costner movie is a cowboy movie, whether it's Waterworld, JFK, Postman, Dances with Wolves, which is an actual cowboy movie. They're all cowboy movies.
When's Wyatt Earp? How do you fucking say it? When's Wyatt?
Wyatt Earp? Oh, that's not a cowboy movie.
Yeah, but when is that? When is that? That's Costner, isn't it?
Yeah, that was one of the years. Is that 93 or 94? I think that's a year we've covered. Okay. I think that's Colour of Night year, perhaps.
Okay.
And speaking of time, this movie is, of course, set in the distant future of 2013, when everything has gone to shit. And he's wandering like the salt plains of Utah, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he discovers a lion. It's a real striking image. There's like Shining Through has that shot of like the zebra running through war-torn Berlin. This has a lion in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and it is the most well-fed lion I have ever seen.
Yes.
It's a dust bowl, there's not greenery, there's nothing to be seen, no antelope, no deer, and this lion just looks like it's like...
I like... So in this open, I don't know if it's just before the lion, but when he gets to the gas station...
Yeah.
And he finds a pack of cigarettes, and goes on the roof, and you were like, product placement. And
okay.
Me and Isaiah were like, oh no, it's the lottery. He's won the lottery. He's got, he's found his lucky cigarettes.
Because it's a big 76 ball.
Exactly.
It's a lottery logo.
And he's won it because he's found his cigarette. And then I thought, is Kevin Costner going to be smarter than you, Jericho? Is he going to be putting all these symbolism and all this beautiful things through the film? That was the moment that hooked me, and I was like, okay, I'm in here. And it also has a nice transition from the sign to the mountains as well.
Yeah.
With the lion, I was in. I was
you were on board with that early.
I fall victim to getting sucked into films early, but this really had me early.
I was a little bit more of a skeptic. I still had my guard up because this is over the credits. So we get it's based on a book, of course. Yes. So many Razzie winners based on novels. And my thought was, this would make a pretty good ride. Like the Universal Studios is notorious for having their Waterworld ride still, and Waterworld has become primarily a ride.
I've been to Universal
the ride
Studios,
based on the movie based on the ride. And I was like, I wouldn't mind Postman ride because it's kind of atmospheric. So once Costner gets his cigarettes, has his little product placement for the lotto, he goes to town. And we learn that he is a traveling troubadour. He's an actor because he does Macbeth. He does Macbeth, and his mule, act opposite him.
Yeah, he does a good job too.
Yeah,
not the worst actor in the film. Like
that's
on the horse.
Well, my note here, better than expected. This is the entire movie, so this is when they begin to get me. I think they get me with Shakespeare. Because there's like a good bit where he's not a fantastic actor because he doesn't know the words. So he's stumbling over his lines, and there's a woman kind of completing them. Yeah. And he's
correcting them as well,
Yeah, he's like, tomorrow and the day after. It's not sold well, but I was like, that's a great joke. It's the word you've just said, and you've forgotten it.
But it's a great setup that he's a fraud.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. On him.
Yeah. And so that finishes, and we get the sort of meta commentary, what I think might be like a response to criticism of Waterworld and You Said Robin Hood, but which I think both of you have identified as the Jericho surrogate in the film. The guy who confronts Kevin Costner.
Larry.
And is like...
Larry.
Is he Larry?
Yeah, his name's Larry.
Yeah, okay.
How much did you pay for a ticket, Larry?
So Larry confronts him after the play and is like, "You sucked. I used to be an actor, and I thought I was the worst actor of all time, and I owe you thanks because after having seen you, I'm the second worst." Yep. Which, Costner at this point in time, he's coming off those bombs. He's coming off, like, Waterworld's a bomb, and people criticised him when he tried to do classical theatre in the form of Robin Hood. So I think that's him lashing out at the naysayers, the haters, the Jerichos. And then I'm going to skip ahead unless any of you have anything.
I just want to say it's a shame Larry didn't come back at the end.
Yeah.
And be like, "Oh, you were a good actor." You know? I loved your film.
I would like to see Larry deeper in the movie as one of the postmen.
Yes.
Being like,
being taken
you weren't
by
a good
performance.
actor, but
I was
you're a hell of a good postman.
I want Larry to have the same arc as you, Jericho.
You know what? I shit on him for the Christ symbolism and the like Messiah complex, but I'm like, he has converted me. Like, I'm a believer. And then, so this is a 3-hour movie, of course. So we're gonna have to. I also stopped taking notes, so I just become engrossed in the movie.
I was just enjoying the film.
Yeah. But we do have a lot to get through. So the villains come to town.
Yes.
Just after he's done his performance, villains descend on the town of Saltwater, Salt Spring, Pinewood, whatever geographic feature and location.
Yeah.
No, he sneaks to Pineview after.
That's where Spangler is. So they come to town and they're like, we want like every able-bodied man to line up, every white able-bodied man, like no minorities.
Especially Native Americans, which is that Dances with Wolves.
It's our Seagal crossover of
100%.
white savior Kevin Costner's like fighting for indigenous rights, because they look at like the lineup, they look at one on the end and like they kind of like pull down his eye or whatever, or like poke him, and they're like, "I bet you're not pure blood, are you? Get out of here." Which, as we covered, they're kind of doing them a favor, because when you establish that the white men are going to a prison camp,
be slaves,
and the alternative is you just get to hang out and continue living your lives, I guess.
Very progressive.
Everyone's claiming like, "Oh, actually, like I'm like 132, I'm like 133rd black. My second cousin's nephew's brother's boyfriend's boss was from Mexico, so really I can't. I'm not."
This also did throw me off because they do take a black lad with them, so I got really confused. I thought it was specifically Native Americans at first.
I think, well, you'll maybe be able to speak better than us. Of like the blood purity thing is generally like that blood quantum thing. That's generally like a whole, how American are you? How European are you? Isn't it?
I have no clue. Well, I don't know.
Right.
Well, clearly I'm the expert in American racism, but
it is because there's a line, because later on the sub-general or something's like, "I know the general can't see it, but I know you've got black in you," basically.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, maybe the general just was stupid, but like it confused me. It did confuse me.
Welcome to Enoch Powell Cast, where we discuss phrenology, your number one source for racism. Anyway, so Costner is sneaking off to avoid that lineup.
Yes.
And he gets caught.
Really quickly.
Yeah, he gets caught because someone with Down syndrome points him out. Or he's looking at him, and they follow his, like, they're like, what's he looking at?
Line of thing,
And they catch Costner, and they take him off to this fascist prison camp. And the leader of this gang, these post-apocalyptic bad boys, his name is Will Patton, who you said
is from Yellowstone.
Yeah.
So, and it's not the only Yellowstone reference.
No, you said he was exactly like he is in Yellowstone.
It's legit the same character. So if you've seen Yellowstone, it's Jamie Dutton's biological dad in Yellowstone is played by Will Patton, and this fascist leader is pretty much the exact same character. Like there's the range of this actor. I've seen him in two things. He's great in both, but it's the same character in both. It's yeah.
And it's very much, you said, Jericho, it's like a John C. McGinley kind of performance, but doing an Alan Rickman from Robin Hood.
Precisely.
That's exactly what it is.
Exactly. I think it's Costner being like, well, one of the things that worked best about Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, is everyone loved Rickman.
Yes.
So we'll just try and do that. You'll be sort of like towing the line with sort of this hammy theatricality, and you're going to be all dressed in black, and you're going to have all the best lines.
And yeah, and he's great as well. I don't want to put it down. He's my favorite part, probably. He's my favorite character in it. It rides the line between I'm chewing the scenery, but I'm not distracting from the film either. Like, yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Well, what did you guys think of the 8 Mile rap battle that they have?
I thought it was amazing. I thought it was fucking hilarious, because that's what I mean by like straddling that line of like, you could overdo this and I could be laughing too like hard at it.
Yeah.
But yeah, their Shakespeare off was great.
Yeah, because he's like, I'm an actor, I do Shakespeare.
He's a man of
and
culture.
he gives him like, Costner is like, to be or not to be, that is the question. And then the guy's like, we happy few, we band of brothers, and they just trade back and forth with the most like contextless, like it's not as if they're responding to each other. It's not as if it's like the Jewel and Sandman or whatever. They're just being like, oh, like all the world's a stage.
It's what can you remember?
And, yeah,
exactly.
Can you remember? Exactly. It's they could almost have made it romantic of like the, oh Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou, Romeo? It's just two men right up each other's face doing an 8 Mile rap battle.
I wish that came in at the end as well. I wish that's how they settled their differences, you know. And Costner could have really pulled out a performance.
Well, the thing it reminded me of was there's this story of Shane Black, I think last year, was at an event at the New Bev Cinema in LA. I think it was a screening of The Nice Guys, and some guy stood up and was like, Mr. Black, I'm an actor. Will you cast me in your film? And Shane Black's like, cool, yeah, like, do me a Shakespeare monologue. Yeah. And the guy just froze and sat down. But Kevin Costner is not going to be caught out.
Could you imagine if that was Costner who was like,
you're not to be, you know?
Yeah. He's like, well, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I am good to go. Watching them have their sort of Shakespeare rap battle, I was like, what if they were musical theatre fans just exchanging lines to each other? Like, memories, all alone in the moonlight. Tomorrow, I'll love you tomorrow.
They could have quoted Sound of Music, you know?
Exactly. Well, that's my next note. So they're in this hellish prison camp, and like they're like a quarry, aren't they?
Well, no, it's a mine.
It is a mine.
It's a mine.
But like it has that sort of big like pool of water.
A mine.
Like, do mines have that?
Yes.
Like a pool of water?
It's a mine.
Okay. It's a mine.
Yeah.
And there's like it's nice. Like you can sell tickets to that. Like sort of secret cinema. It's one of those people who pay a lot of money for this little barge projector.
No, like of all the bad things about this camp that Costner sent to, movie night.
Movie night looks great.
Yeah, movie night looks great. Like
it seems to be nightly as well. Like
every
fucking night.
Every night there's something new.
There's a little projectionist who has a little cabin. They project on the screen, floating on the water. It looks real nice. It's kind of again like the Waterworld ride at Universal, and they're projecting. Kyle, I'm gonna hand over to you here.
Oh, like
Universal Soldier.
It's just when it says Dolph Lundgren on the fucking screen, and my heart lit up.
You lit up.
I lit up. I was like, maybe this is why it's 3 hours, because we're gonna watch Universal Soldier. You know? It's just a framing device, this film, isn't it? And everyone starts booing and throwing rocks, and I would be the only arsehole in that fucking quarry or mine being like, no. Fucking don't change it. And you know they're going to change it to something. I was hoping, I said Waterworld. You said Waterboy. You know? If they put Costner on the screen, that would have been great. But they change it to Sound of Music and everyone applauds. Really good though. I fucking love this. Again, I've spoke about it on the podcast how I don't like films within films.
It's the thing we spoke about, the Last Action Hero. Of they're like, okay, so Stallone plays.
So Dolph Lundgren's an actor, but Kevin Costner isn't an actor in real life. Like,
and we have another one later on.
Yeah, it all confuses me. I really like this mine campsite. I said at the time it reminds me of what I want Battlefield Earth to be.
Yeah.
The lighting was cool. The sets looked really nice. That budget was getting used really well. It looked post-apocalyptic as well. It did look like a Mad Max, like, fascist place. I kind of dug all their weird culty, you know, they're the 8 and stuff. They're weird rules. If you're last in line, you don't get fed.
When you say weird rules, I think this is like a daycare. I think this is like playgroup or like a nursery for children, because we've got Giovanni Ribisi. He suffers from like, if you're last in line, you don't get to eat.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where it's musical chairs.
Yeah.
Because the leader is like, okay, everyone, take a seat. And like, there's not enough seats because it's like musical chairs. And then some guy's like, oh, sir, I can't sit. And he's like, well, why aren't you sitting? He's like, there aren't any chairs. You can sit on the ground, can't you? And then he tries to, and it's like, Simon didn't say.
Yeah.
And they make an example of this guy, so they give him the most sort of contrived
it's the most convoluted,
execution.
right? Because they lead him to like a plank, right? And I'm like, he's gonna get yeeted off. They're just gonna
Exactly. Yeah.
And then a rope drops down, so I'm
Yeah.
like, they're gonna noose him. They're gonna fucking lynch him. And no, they tie him upside down so they can, I think, cut his throat. I think that was what
Well,
happened.
we don't see, because squeamish Kevin Costner, the guy walks towards him and slashes.
With cutlass, yeah.
And then blood on his forehead. I was wondering if it was almost like a weird rite, like he's going to anoint himself with the blood or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, we don't see, like the violence is sort of very, maybe this is like a rating thing. But it's very like implied. It left almost entirely to your imagination.
And then they get branded.
Yeah, they get branded. Yeah.
Yellowstone reference.
Again, yeah.
Yellowstone reference.
It's just all full circle. I love it.
Yeah.
And so the guy takes Costner back to his like little chateau, and we see that he has a bunch of success when, like, again, Jordan Peterson, he's like here's my 12 rules for living, Mr. Costner.
But I like this as well, because even with the weird musical chairs and the weird execution, it shows that he doesn't really know what he's doing. Like,
Yeah.
he is
How
also
to
a
be a
fraud.
fascist
Yeah,
dictator,
exactly.
12 steps to success.
I like that.
Yeah, everyone's a fraudster in
Yeah,
the world of the
I'm up for
Postman.
that.
And so I leap forward in these notes, so I don't cover the escape.
Right,
Want to...
The escape, I'll set up for Isaiah. Like, so Kevin Costner says to the black guy and Giovanni,
Yeah.
let's all get the fuck out of here, let's make an escape. And Giovanni's like, no, and you called it as well, you called the line. It's like when he's like, no, because I like it here.
I like it here.
You know, I get fed once a day. I
I'm
get to
losing
watch
so
a
much
movie.
weight.
I've got a decent job for the first time, you know, like Sound of Music every night. It's great here. So I thought, okay, and I thought, I was kind of like you, that they were going to be sidekicks or they were going to carry on as well. So I was like, they're going to make this great escape. This is going to be a big chunk of the film as well, probably, is what I was expecting.
Yeah.
But then, no, like, take us away, Isaiah. How is the escape?
So Costner approaches Woody and Giovanni Ribisi, and he asks them, you know, hey, we should do an escape. And Woody's like, yeah, kinda. And Ribisi's like, no, I like it here.
Yeah.
I like it here.
Yeah.
And then cut to immediately the next morning, they send Kevin Costner on this suicide mission across this bridge.
Yeah. Well, it's because someone's went hunting for a lion. The lion.
The lion.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, we need a volunteer to go see what happened. You know, go through these little fucking woods and stuff. Giovanni volunteers, and they're like, nah, you, Shakespeare. So Kevin Costner gets sent across the bridge. He doesn't get a gun either. He gets a knife, because that's all you need to take on a lion. Which I thought was fun. And there was, you know, he doesn't see... Anyway, so that's when he goes across this fucking rope bridge, straw bridge thing, and finds the corpse.
Yes. He finds the corpse, which is revealed to be half-eaten.
Yes.
Hence why the lion is so well fed.
Yes. Just eating all these stray prisoners. I like that, though.
And then Costner's coming across the bridge, which is over, like, it's between two mountains.
Yeah, they're big
1,000
gorge,
feet up
isn't
in
it?
there above a river.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a wooden bridge in a post-apocalyptic setting.
You don't think
It
there's someone
breaks.
doing maintenance on this bridge?
Yeah, no one's doing maintenance. And it breaks, he falls in, and just immediately goes, oh, this is perfect. I can now swim downstream a river and escape, because he survives the fall. So then what does the fascist cult do is they send the two characters that Costner had the night before, said, hey, you guys want to escape? The cult then sends those two characters to chase after him. And you're like, perfect. The cult has now planned their escape.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
And perfectly. Like, they didn't even need to plan it because the cult had their backs the whole time for getting them out of there. So, yeah, so Woody, goes into the water after Costner, and Ribisi follows along. And then, of course, things don't go to plan because it turns out that there's more cult leaders following after them. And
Well, yeah, because he gets Giovanni, and I didn't expect this. I didn't expect him, because Giovanni finds him and shouts out that I found him.
Yeah.
And immediately gets shanked by Costner. Like, there's not even a hesitation.
He doesn't try and cover the mouth.
No,
He
it's
goes, knife,
just
stomach, then
right.
smother. Yeah.
Yeah. Dead men don't talk. And I like that. So I was like, okay, also this film isn't fucking about, like you were saying,
Yeah.
when it's getting the escape, this has gone boof, boof. So this might be 3 hours, but we're moving
yeah, what did I
swiftly.
say? I said 100 miles an hour
100
down the
miles.
highway. I said it. I said it in the pre-show. I haven't seen this movie, knew nothing about it. I knew we were getting in a fast car.
So then we get Woody approaches him as well, has a strange little knife off.
Well, this is the least dramatic scene of all time, which you and Isaiah pointed out, where you're like, the guard who turns up, and they do that kind of like, who are you gonna pick? Who are you gonna pick? You gonna go with Costner to freedom, or are you gonna go with a guard who called you the N-word? In a scene immediately preceding this
This
one.
is us being wrestling fans, and we've seen this a million times. We know exactly what's coming. It's a swerve. But also as well, so Woody throws a knife at the guard, gets him in the arm, and then gets like blasted 7 times in the chest.
Yeah.
And that's him gone. That's your...
Well, because you thought he was getting out of it, and I was like, if Costner were to have a sidekick, it would be a name. Costner's not diluting his star power by tagging along with some no-name mark.
Yeah.
So I was just waiting for. I was like, okay, he's gonna do the right thing, but die in the Mexican standoff, which leaves Costner alone to wander the wastelands. And we get another Shakespeare reference. Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio, a fellow of infinite jest. He finds a van with a skeleton. And
a lighter. That's filled with fucking fuel as well. And he turns into a caveman.
I know, how long was he wandering?
Fire indeed hot.
Time is a very fluid thing in the world of the Postman. Because you're like it's like he's been wandering the desert for so long and he's like dehydrated, or he hasn't been, like, he's Tom Hanks in Castaway, like he's so desocialized that he can't communicate.
Which could have montaged. You could have montaged that quickly.
Fire.
But very convenient as well. But like, that's okay. Now he takes the postman's uniform.
Well, the corpse is a postman.
Yes, that's what it takes. The skeleton's uniform to keep warm.
Yeah. He's Santa Claus, is it?
Yeah.
He's
He's
just like...
very he's very Tim Allen here. He also commits a federal crime by burning the letters.
The mail,
yeah. So, and that comes up again as a reference, which made me smile, because at least it's self-aware, it knows this.
Yeah, it's aware of
It's
the
writing
plot.
it better than I would, so I'm happy with that. So and then like, it's not, I don't know why he takes mail with him, because there's a Playboy maybe.
Yeah, I need this bag to carry my Playboy, which I've discovered. Maybe I'll need to burn these down the line. I've got Playboy and I've got some kindling.
Yeah.
And he comes across a town, and this is where
Pineview.
Yeah, Pineview.
This is where I lit up, because we have our second Malcolm in the Middle cast member. Oh, I forgot to say, going back, so the play they're doing, Shakespeare, is Macbeth, and he's wearing kind of a, not a kilt, but he's draped in tartan.
Yeah.
So we're inducting Kevin Costner. He's going to swear us in as Postman, and we're going to deputize him as Honorary Scott Kevin Costner.
Nice. Kevin Costner.
But we get another, keeping tally, we get another Malcolm in the Middle cast member here with Commandant Spangler, who is Daniel von Bargen.
Okay.
I just want to read you his IMDb page, because this is clearly written by him. A character actor who seems to pop up everywhere as a stereotypical cop, military officer, and/or tough guy. Von Bargen could turn in performances of stunning complexity when given the chance.
Well,
that's his agent being
When
like,
given the chance.
But the first line's true, because he was a sheriff and he was a tough guy. So like, it's not lying.
Yeah, so he's the sort of like head of the town, and he gives Costner shit, because he's immediately like, this man is a fraudster, he is a liar.
Yeah, right away.
We've if you're living in a nice little community in the post-apocalypse, you have to learn to be able to tell your shysters when they come in and try and take advantage of you. And Costner's like, no, I swear I'm a real mailman. And he pulls out the letters and he's basically like, is there like...
He gives him 3 chances, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, give you 3 chances, and I think it's on the 3rd or the 4th one.
Yeah.
He does call out a correct name.
Yeah.
And some blind woman
Yeah.
lights up and
It's
she's
like-
like, oh, that's my name. Like,
Yeah. And so he comes into the town and like hands out the mail and like they all immediately love him. He becomes like the toast of the town, like a
he
celebrity.
does. And we're not even, before we get to what it is, this is when I see Peggy Lipton.
Yeah.
Who's, if we're keeping tally, is my Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
And I also assume, because you know she's relatively well built in this.
Yeah.
So I seen her name in the credits. I was like, oh, that's a Twin Peaks reference. She's also age appropriate for Costner.
Yeah.
And an attractive lady. So I instantly assumed, because he's found the blind woman's mail and that's like her mom, this is going to be her. She's
both
amazing.
you and Isaiah called this is the love interest.
Yes, 100%.
Which misdirect on the part of
Swerves,
auteur
yeah.
filmmaker Kevin Costner. But like you, I think you two were focused on trying to anticipate the romantic thing. The thing that got me, I was obsessed with Costner just working the crowd. They're like, oh hey, he's great, let him in. And Costner is just charming them. He says, if there are dogs in this town, you'll have to leash him while I'm here. And they all love it. Like, they're all just cracking up.
I didn't even fucking
I clicked, did either of you? I had to explain it. I was like, he's a mailman. The sworn enemy of the mailman is the dog. And this kind of leads into the next part, because they just cross off. Like, what would you say are the 3 biggest like word associations for mailman? Probably getting chased by dogs, going postal, doing shootings, and then fathering illegitimate children. And this movie does all of them.
All 3 of them.
Because Costner's in town and like they're having a little like get together, dance, whatever, and a woman.
His phone pings because he matched.
Oh
He matched with,
Olivia Williams from
Yeah.
Rushmore.
Yeah. He matches with Abby, whose bio says, "Husband and I are looking for a third."
Yeah.
And who better to be a third than the mailman?
And she's right on him as well. Like,
Immediately, the second he arrives in town, she's like, listen, I have a proposal for you.
yeah. How tall are you? Do your balls work?
I have an indecent proposal. Have you ever had syphilis? Let's go. My husband's dick doesn't work, and we would like you to father our child.
Yeah.
And he's like non-committal at first. Like, he doesn't give an answer, does he?
And he's like, there's plenty of men, and it'd be weird if it was some.
Yeah, if it's
from the
someone who
town.
hangs around, has to see every day,
Yeah,
then that would be odd. So really, it has to be you. And so we get...
So in other words, his newfound job of being a postman for 5 minutes is just blowing up. Yeah. It is just the greatest discovery of all time.
Especially because he's probably spent years wandering that desert
Yeah.
with you,
Well,
like,
he's an actor, and I know how unforgiving that is. Just constantly knocking on doors, experiencing rejection, performing plays to audiences of 2 who really don't want to be watching you, and then you like... Suddenly, people are like, "Oh, hey, I'm interested in you." You're gonna leap on that and be like, "I can play the role. I can do this." Because you were like, putting it together. You're like, "This kid's dad is actually gonna be the mailman." And so,
Not having seen the movie too, I was wondering if that would be the next 2 hours and 40 minutes. To see who else's dad would be Kevin Costner, the mailman, and if it was just that kind of this movie.
This is where he deputizes, like, because there's what's the guy's name? Ford what Lincoln?
yeah,
Ford.
Continental or something.
Yeah.
I thought it was literally just a car name.
Ford Lincoln Mercury is the kid who he's like wants to be a postman, and Costner's like, I don't think you're cut.
He's like,
for
I
it."
like cars. I want to drive cars.
Yeah,
and then
he's gonna
like,
do that,
That's
yeah.
a kid dream. The
Yeah.
man's dream is to be a postman.
And so Costner's like, well, if you're sure about it, you can take the oath, and only a postman can make another postman. And I thought he meant biologically. I thought we were gonna get like a Game of Thrones, like dragon seeds, like only Targaryens can ride dragons, like, or that movie, like the Quebecois movie that they remade with Vince Vaughn. like, I think it was Starbuck originally, and then this
Oh,
delivery
yeah.
man where they're like,
Yeah.
he is a sperm donor and has
Oh,
like
yeah,
1,000
yeah,
kids.
yeah.
I thought Costner was going to have an army of post people who he had all fathered.
Yeah. I like this scene as well, because when he's reciting the lines for him and he's literally just looking up and reading it off the fucking signs on the wall. I think that's when, and it made sense, again, it's a smart film, when Ford, spoilers, kind of becomes a fraudster himself in the future.
Yeah.
Because he knows at this point, he knows this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's just a symbolic kind of thing, and it's something, you know, with a good message behind it.
Yeah,
I really
people
like
need
Ford as
something
well.
to believe in. Ford's great. I will deal with it a little later
it's gonna
on,
come up.
but I wanted Ford to be the lead.
Yeah.
I want to watch
even
Ford.
instantly, I was like, this kid's good. Like,
He's a good actor.
He's a good actor. Yep, all up for it.
So Costner continues deceiving the town because they're like, "Oh, is the president still alive?" And he's like,
Bad
"Yeah,
president name. Bad
yeah." Well,
president.
he says, "Yeah, the president's doing great," and a woman who not a feminist like I am, she says, "What's his name?" Which is very 2013.
It's
Come on, it's her time. I'm with her. And Kevin Costner says the president's name is Richard Starkey. His friends call him Ringo. And you better believe it's getting better. It's getting better all the time.
Which Ringo didn't even fucking sing. You know, like,
With a little help from my friends, he won the presidential election.
Fuck off, Boogaloo. No.
She's 16, she's beautiful. So Costner then, we let's just, my notes tail off. So Costner's in bed, and Rushmore comes to him.
Yes.
And
Waltzes in as well.
waltzes in, strips off, and gets in bed. And he's like, okay, sure, why not? And we don't get the shot of her husband looking behind.
That's
like,
why I
with your
expected.
crack in the
But, you know,
cabin.
there's-
But he was there.
He was there.
100%.
Yeah. No.
In the
He-
cupboard with the people, you know.
Yeah.
And I like
looking through the eyes of the painting, like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
We should also note that Costner was introduced to the husband mere minutes before
The husband
that
appears.
scene.
They're
Yeah.
speaking, and the husband's like, "Hello."
Yeah.
My wife, yeah. Yeah, this is funny as well. I mean, it's quite good that she does say, like, close your fucking eyes or something.
Yeah,
or, like,
they speak about like
yeah.
it being intimate versus mechanical
Yeah.
or whatever, and so
Doesn't
they
look
make
mechanical.
It looks that way, though.
they make
It looks
sweet
very
sweet
intimate.
love
No, when-
17 times in a row,
Dripping with sweat.
and then she watches him while he sleeps
Well, it's
because
still-
he's passed out.
It still
and she's
looks like
just looking at
mid-coitus
him.
as well. Like, she's
Yeah.
still on top of him, and he is snoring. He's
Coitus, this is his fucking lady friend. He's
This
just
is
helping her conceive, man. And so he's like, it's like kind of like I'm shipping out in the morning. She's like, this is my last chance, because Costner is out of there, and they give him a horse, and he rides from Utah to Oregon.
Yeah.
And when so basically, I have 2 more notes for this film.
Well, like, okay, well, like, I don't know, like, because my chronological order is going to get fucked up, but the fascists arrive to Pineview soon, don't they?
Yeah, so let's just deal with that now. The fascists arrive at Pineview almost
they're
as
still
soon as
looking for
Costner
Costner.
Well,
leaves.
they arrive in Pineview, and we
Yeah.
gotta talk about a scene while we're on the topic between Abby, her husband, and the fascist
Well,
leader,
that's, because
Yeah.
the
Will
fa-
Patton.
That's the only point that's pertinent to cover, I think, is
Yeah.
like the husband is here and
Right, so the fascist arrives, he asks the sheriff, have you seen the fucking postman? Because they see the flag.
Have you seen the Postman? Yeah, great movie.
They've seen the flag. They see the flag of America's up.
Yeah.
So he loses it. You know why have we got that? There is no government.
Yeah.
He gets cuck husband to burn it down. The flag makes him do it and torch the
The
building.
cuckold husband instantly burns it. Or like,
They're like,
Instantly, no.
they're like, you need to burn it down, and like the guy whose wife just got fucked by the postman 5 minutes earlier. Now, like that guy is asked to burn down a flag that was hung by the guy who just nailed his wife, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do that. I just how could he have any loyalty to the postman after what just happened?
No, well,
the night before, mere hours.
we need to discuss this now because we all kind of spoke about, we're like, oh, the Postman surprisingly woke for a 1997 movie. And like we're like, okay, okay, it's Kevin Costner dealing with polyamory. And this is a progressive. He's not going to be like, you're a sniveling, cowardly, emasculated cuckold. He's like, no, he's a strong man who's going to defy. Like, just because I let other people fuck my wife doesn't mean that I'm any less of a man.
Don't, but then, he's specific. Anyway, we'll get to that. Right, we'll get to that. He burns it down, he throws the fascist king throws it into the post office.
Yeah.
Ford steals some mail.
Ford Mercury Lincoln is like, no, I'm going to go down with the ship. And Spangler's like, no, kids, I've got a military school that I'm going to whip some. Yeah.
So, and then fascist leader is sitting drinking lemonade, which is weird. You pointed out as well, or maybe it's just lemon water.
Oh yeah, no, he's drinking lemonade. Yeah, because it's colored. It's not clear. So it's not lemon water.
So
it's brewed.
Lemons, it's like Shelbyville. There's plenty of fucking lemons here.
It's got a slice of a lemon in it.
Yeah.
It's like a nice little cocktail that he's drinking.
And that's when he sees her Rushmore, and he's like, "That's a fine piece of ass."
Yeah.
Like,
Are you aware of the medieval tradition of prima nocta?
And he's saying this to Cuck husband as well, and he's like, "That's my wife. I don't just let anyone fuck her, mate. Are you a cowboy? Because otherwise, So that's him like standing up for her, and that was genuinely funny.
Because he fucking dies for it.
He dies. He dies for Costner.
The fascist leader dies in defense of Costner being the only guy who can bang his wife. Like, that is the most amazing story point in any movie ever.
Imagine Costner writing this because
I can't do this podcast. I can't do this. It's the single greatest scene I've ever seen. He dies
for nothing as well, because he instantly just takes
I may not agree with your right to fuck my husband, but I will die for your right to do it.
I can't. It's so funny. Oh my god. Let's just someone else say something.
Right, so wait, I'll get back on. But fascist king just takes her anyway. She's now a slave. Your boy, the sheriff, lies and says he goes to the east instead of west.
Yeah.
Because he secretly believes, because he gave him a letter.
Yeah. My girlfriend in Canada wants this letter.
She goes to a different school. You don't know her.
But she's a total dime. She's a model.
So that's again, this is where the message of hope and belief and like that sort of themes that are going to run through. I don't know what the next scene is because I was so overblown by Sacrifice of the Cuck Husband that I was just fucking stunned.
I think we're in Oregon. I think we cut to he's in the town hall. And he's handing out mail to people, and they're like, "Is there any more?" And he's like, "Well, not right now, but maybe later."
Yeah, he's like, it's like Broadway's back as well. He's like, you might
Cats is playing once again.
You guys might not have drinking water yet, but don't worry. Andrew Lloyd Webber's still doing good. So that was fun. So yeah, and that's also the time because he gets their fucking lickety split as well.
Yeah.
That's a fast horse.
It's like the horse goes 100 miles per hour.
Just like the movie, It's just fucking good. Because I was dreading this was going to be plotting between town to town.
Yeah.
He just teleports there.
Well, it's rare that we object to The Simpsons, but we've got to say, Simpsons, they done Postman dirty.
Yeah, they did.
Because, he walks very little, and it's not boring and monotonous. It's kind of fun. And so I'm losing track of what happens here. I think the legend of the Postman sort of continues to... Oh no, Cuck husband has been killed, and there's a big shootout where Rushmore turns out to be like an amazing sniper. And so...
she's taken as a slave.
Yeah.
And she's got run behind the wagon, which is quite fun.
Yeah.
And then they arrive at a town where Postman. I don't know if this still is Oregon. I think there might be another place.
They're in Connecticut.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, we're on the other coast.
So they're in Alaska. And they won't open the gates because there's a federal fucking man of the government or whatever they call. They've got respect for him though. They're not going to do it. And Costner he was out anyway with a little white flag.
Yeah, Costner.
But because he shaved, as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
He got a shave when he was in Pineview.
Yeah.
And general fascism doesn't recognize him anymore.
Yeah.
He does. He's like, I've seen you somewhere before, but like.
Are you an actor? Have I seen you in a commercial? No.
No,
not
I'm a
me.
postman. Just impregnate and leave. Don't do any of that acting business. So again, I'm jumping about here, but yeah, this is where the general just fucking ballista, blows the fucking place apart. They all charge in, but Rushmore gets a gun. She clubs a guy, and she turns out to be a mean shooter, taking them all out. She gets away with Costner.
Yeah.
And that sets them up going into
They go into their little cabin retreat.
It turns into fake snow land.
Yeah.
And we were talking about that for too long because, is that real snow? Is that fake? No, it's fake as fuck. And I don't know where this is about because we were going from like desert to green, lush. I know America through movies and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess it's in the mountains and it's really cold there. Costner was shot as well in the shootout.
Yeah.
So he's
not doing anything. He's not contributing.
Yeah, no. So he's been shot in the stomach. She calls him a lazy bastard for not trying to use his legs.
Yeah.
A great scene as well where he's talking about we've only got grass and water to eat. So she instantly takes the fucking horse outside and just old yellers it, which I fucking loved. You loved it as well, actually. So yeah, they're here for. This is where it gets a bit time strange because they're here all winter.
Yeah, they're in the cabin waiting for the snow to thaw or whatever, so they spend, at the very least,
3 months.
3 months.
And you don't have supply. He does have supply. He did actually get
one horse.
But also the sheriff, they gave him 3 months supplies.
Yeah.
So he did have supplies. They did have the horse. That would explain why they could keep fire going. I mean, she's a badass, so she would have been cutting the wood while Costner was sitting with a blanket.
Costner is singing Sound of Music to himself, remembering his good old days in the prison.
He doesn't want to go either. She's like, let's get the fuck out of here. And he's like, no, it's good company. We've got a good shelter here.
Have you thought of starting a family and maybe have a couple more kids?
If Costner has his way in that moment with Abby, it's like that's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
They're just gonna live in this cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
And be together. But she's like, no, this isn't. We gotta go. We gotta keep going.
Yeah.
This isn't it.
And she burns down the cabin to get
down the cabin
to get him
right
out.
way to get him.
Costner's like, I gotta go do stuff. Well, I was the postman for 2 cities, and look what it got me: shot.
You were like, what an idiot, because the cabin catches fire, and she's like, don't worry, all our belongings are out here, and he's like, what happened? And doesn't twig that she has burned the cabin down to force him to go back to work.
Yeah.
That's how you get a meat to go fucking out of the basement, isn't it?
You gotta smoke them out. Winter thaws, and this is where we will discuss. So the sort of the
incredible reveal. Incredible reveal.
Well, I don't know if we're speaking about the same thing here. So they're in the cabin for 3 months.
Yeah.
The sort of elasticity of time in the Postman. So he impregnates her on his final night in town. He then rides to Oregon. He then they're in the cabin for at the very least 3 months.
3 at least, yeah.
And you might just want to keep track of this gestation period, because we will reveal to you this baby is not born during the events of the Postman, which seem to take place. He rides to and from Oregon 17 times.
Yeah.
Utah to Oregon on horseback. And this baby is still not born.
I have a theory.
Yeah?
I'll share it later.
Okay. So when they're out, he's reluctantly been dragged out into the world. They encounter a postman, someone in the uniform. Oh yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Because he gets all the they get their guns ready, and she's like, fucking officer number 22 or whatever, which I thought was great. And it's like we clicked, and you were like, Ford's gone and started a revolution. And you're 3 months while you've been fucking about in a cabin. That young lad has got he's got actual service delivery. He's hired people to the cause. Uniforms are made and all ready to go.
Costner's an absolute charlatan. He's a lying fraudster. And as we've discussed, this plays into Isaiah's point that this is the Postman is the most woke movie from 1997. Is they're doing a commentary that black people built America.
Yeah.
and
don't.
wealthy white people just took credit for it. Like, yeah, like Ford Mercury Lincoln does all of the work, and Kevin Costner is just this messiah figure that turns up and it's like, okay, cool.
Costner has
Where's
the idea.
where's the women who want to be impregnated?
Costner has the idea like, hey, what if I just go around saying I'm a postman, getting like free bowls of soup, and you know,
Fucking people's
wives, and then he tells Ford, oh yeah, man, like we're gonna start a restored America.
It's a real duty.
And then he immediately gets shot, goes into a cabin, and just sits there for 3 months. Only leaves because he is burned out of it by the person who doesn't want to spend another fucking day in the cabin with him.
Yeah.
Like, Abby burns him out of the cabin. He then shows up at a new camp that Ford has fully just beat.
It's honestly incredible.
It's amazing.
That's why we're like.
Amazing.
That's where like this has to be over 9 months. Like this has Ford has built like an
not
entire.
just they've got delivery systems.
Yeah.
They're fucking
Like they've got
routes.
trucks.
Yeah.
Just sorting mail.
And
like everyone has a uniform.
Ford's done all of this.
Yeah.
And what do they say? They go, it's all because of the postman. And it's like, no. Almost none of this is because of the postman. This is all Ford.
Yep.
Well, this is what we've got. This is what won me round. Is you've always said to me, you're like, Kevin Costner, Americana, that's his thing. It's baseball, it's cowboys. And I was like, for me it was like, this is Andrew Dominic, this is deconstructing American myths. We're like unpicking, he's such a fraud that the movie knows he's a fraud. Like the movie is deconstructing heroism.
Yeah.
Like it's unpicking.
He's an anti-messiah.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Yeah. This movie kind of amazing.
It is amazing. It's all types of amazing.
Yeah, and so where do we go from here?
He even has I always want to say Ford even has set up a printing press.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? Within 3 months, you are my fucking postman already. The thing is as well, like Costner kind of comes in and takes over again as well. He takes charge of it, set them up on their routes and stuff. This is where I believe when general fascism is starting to catch them and kill them as well.
Yeah.
The children.
Yeah.
Because they're all kids as well. All these new postmen are kids.
Apart from
one old man. That's not Kevin Costner. There is an old man as well.
Because they ask him, how old are you? Like, I'm 64. Which he is closer to Kevin Costner's age than... Kevin Costner's closer to being the old man than he is being like the Lost Boys that are the...
Yeah, because like that's the other thing. If it's 2013, right, and he said he got his tattoo in 1970, I was like, unless you got it when you were... What's that? I'm trying to do the math in my head here. That would be 43 years ago he got his tattoo. No, 20. That would make sense. Okay.
Okay.
I was like, he didn't get that tattoo when he was 10 or something. No, so that, but he can't ride. So he's going to be like the... What do you call it? The person that stays and sorts the mail and...
Yeah.
Like the headquarters.
The Postmaster General.
Yeah,
that's it.
He's going to be the guy that sorts it, basically.
Yeah.
And there's one amazing moment as Costner becomes leader of all of Ford's work. Costner comes in, just takes credit for it, becomes the leader. And what is his first thing that he makes all of his postmen do? He goes, well, when I was a kid in America, we used to turn our hats backwards.
Yeah.
And he makes all the postmen turn their hats backwards. These hats don't look good backwards,
No,
except
so-
for Ford's. Ford's in the ball cap.
Yeah,
Ford's
Ford's
great.
Yeah.
Once
again,
like fucking Ushanka Russian hats or whatever. They're all spinning it
Yeah.
backwards.
The hats don't look good backwards, except Ford's, who once again comes through
I think
to make Costner's vision work. Because it's Costner's turn the hats backwards.
I think
Ford looks great.
I think Costner's doing it intentionally. I think he's like, I don't want these postmen stealing my women. Like, I'm gonna make all these postmen look like dorks.
So as soon as he separated from the path, he put his hat
back. And you have to wear your pants real high. Postman, that's the number one rule of being a postman. So I have forgot. I think I had something. Oh, okay. So annoyingly, the thing that the film leaves unresolved is while Ford's speaking, he's like reading like the postman's dictate.
Yeah.
And he's like, P.S. Do any of you know what P.S. stands for? And Costner puts his hand up and says, I do. And everyone turns around. And we were like, oh, what's it going to be? Because I was like, oh, it's Postman Says.
Should be Postman Says.
Yeah. And you were like, no, they're not going to answer. And I was like, no, Costner's going to tell them. But alas, we don't find out what PS stands for in the world. It's not postscript in the world of Postman.
I liked how because he doesn't read it to the crowd, but it was something like, Ford's the greatest, and I love him. You know, he's my best friend. Signed, President Starkey. So this is also where the film does lose a little bit of momentum as well.
Yeah.
Again, as much as I enjoyed this is where the 3 hours. I think might be where we took a little quick pause intermission.
Yeah.
There's still an hour and a half to go.
Yeah.
So it's like there's another film going to happen, which is essentially general fascism hunting down the postman, killing kids, going from town to town.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm going to be going through this quick, so
I think the only thing I can think of that's not plot related before we just hop on our like light speed horse and dash to the finish line
straight to Tom Petty
is the hero shot. Like when
my
Costner
God.
sort of rises to the mantle of being the postman.
We all pointed it out as well. So there's this little fucking cottage in a beautiful field, right? And it's got fresh crops and it's all gold. It looks like fucking Field of Dreams.
It's Kevin Costner's vision of Americana.
Yeah.
It's like that sort of like golden sunset, like nice little plantation.
But it's immaculate inside. I mean, she has a bookshelf of like polished books. There's like cutlery out.
It's nicer than my place for sure.
And the mum's dressed in rags and she looks awful, but her house looks immaculate.
Yeah.
And Costner's he's delivering mail there.
He rides past for whatever reason. He's on a mission. He's like, there are some wives to fuck. And a little boy is like waving a letter, and Costner zooms past him. But then he stops and he turns.
It's like his sixth sense kind of goes off as well, and it's got that slow. The horse kind of turns back. It's like, Costner, you've forgotten something.
Yeah, the whole like this beat lasts. This is a 3 hour long movie, and I feel like 15 minutes of it is this beat. Like he sort of slows down in slow motion. He makes eye contact with the kid, and there's that kind of like lingering. And then he rides
full pelt.
Slow motion. Full pelt, but we're seeing in slow motion galloping towards the kid, outstretched, waving the letter, and I was like, he's gonna trample the kid.
Right past
the horse
him,
just
like, oops, I went the wrong way.
And he like snatches the letter from the kid and rides off. Doesn't turn.
No.
Just continues riding off in the wrong direction.
In the wrong direction. He's not going the wrong way.
But that's like...
I want the scene, even though that scene is like 4 minutes and should only be like a shot, I would have liked it to be 1 minute longer just to see him have to stop the horse, turn it back around, and then awkwardly drop by the house again.
Wait until they go inside. Wait until the mum and kid go inside and then just like crouch down.
Like, how does he get out of that?
I think he went the long way around.
So someone's like, oh, I've got a birthday card from like my mother. That my birthday was now like 18 months ago because Kevin Costner took the long way around. Meanwhile, this child is still in the womb of Rushmore. So yeah, we have that. Maybe we should just speak about some of the other filmmaking things. So like Kevin Costner plagiarizes himself extensively. Like that's slow motion, and it's like that's the Messiah shot from Dances with Wolves. Or like he does the same things, like his animals being killed, like the galloping in slow motion, whatever.
There's a lot of it's like a trademark.
Directorial trademark, And the other thing we spoke about is just like the movies that plagiarize this, of where like this is like a pioneering like text. So like this arrives in 1997. There weren't that many like around about Hunger Games, sort of late 2000s, we got so many apocalypse things, like Book of Eli, like The Road, like we got like tons of like Zombieland. We got tons of these things.
Waterworld's post-apocalyptic though.
Yeah, we got Waterworld and Mad Max, I guess.
Yeah, like.
But I feel like it wasn't as in vogue when Costner was doing
I guess it does. I guess there's like it becomes cool and hip again.
Yeah. It's cyclical.
There's stuff the video games Fallout are obviously really popular as well in the 2000s. They could be a reason. Just that, but this is not I really want to keep saying this over again. This is not really a post-apocalyptic movie.
No, not at all. Not in the slightest.
It looks nicer than it does in these days, you know?
Yeah, if you remove those 5 minutes with the trampoline and the lion and
Everything's
him
dust
trying to watch
covered,
TV.
yeah, nothing works, everything's broken and abandoned. The Mad Max part, you take away that, you would never tell us a post.
You cut 5 minutes and this movie is just like Kevin Costner's riding through a lovely scenic countryside.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's like a number of directors who have plagiarized this. Not least Stanley Kubrick, you said, where there's the shining shot.
There is a shining shot,
through the snow.
Yeah, that one's a retrospective ripoff because The Shining was 17 years earlier, but still, still, fuck you, Kubrick. You took from Kev. There's the brand. There's the branding. That's Yellowstone. Yellowstone took that.
Yeah.
What else do we have? Yeah, the Dances with Wolves.
The Dancing with Wolves shot is the funniest. There's a couple, and even at the end with the horses, that's Dancing with Wolves, almost beat for beat.
Alan Rickman retrospectively plagiarized the performance of Will Patton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe we'll come up with some more by the end. But
Shakespeare rap battle is legit.
8 Mile, yeah. Or like Pitch
Shakespeare stole
Perfect
from Kev, you know.
Yeah, it's your cousin Marvin Shakespeare. I've got a hot new couplet for you. Okay, Kyle, do you want to take us home with Tom Petty?
Right, so because Tom Petty was building, it's the and credit as well.
Yeah.
That was also my other light up at the start when I was like, oh my fucking god, I love Tom Petty. Even 97 Tom Petty, maybe he's not absolutely at his prime. But I was like, okay, and I kind of called it because I knew he wasn't going to, I kind of thought he was going to be like a stage or something, but
you gave us, you were like, he will not be a musician. He'll be like a minstrel or like a sheriff or like a mayor.
Mayor
or
the president was kind of my last
Richard
one.
Starkey.
If he was Starkey, that would have been amazing.
So fucking funny.
Why couldn't they have got Ringo? Because we were like, it's going to be, or I was like, it's going to be the Richard Lionheart, Sean Connery of like Petty's going to turn up in the last 5 minutes and restore order to the land. They're like, oh, great work, peace and love, guys.
I would have liked Ringo to actually play the president and have Kevin be like, oh shit, I thought I was just bullshitting, you know? I was making that up, you know? Everything I meme has come into existence here. But no, so Tom Petty doesn't show up till what, maybe the last 20, half an hour,
I want to say.
And he is the mayor of Bridge City, which is another place where at this point Kevin Costner's abandoned the restored United States.
Yeah, he's told the postman
too many kids are dying. Yeah. The president says we need to disband.
Commentary.
Shootings,
kids being killed, and Kevin Costner taking action. He's not just thoughts and prayers.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so him and Rushmore.
He's like, let's close the schools.
Is Rushmore still with him? Yeah, I think Rushmore's still with him.
Yeah, because he's getting her to safety. Because
he wants to raise the baby. Yeah.
Well,
he raised another man's baby.
He's the body father.
And this is where Tom Petty, and he is the mayor of British City.
The bodyguard, the body father.
So first of all, as well, British City looks great. Kind of starting to go back to post-apocalyptic. It's very steampunking looking. There's all these contraptions and stuff. Looks like a dam. I think it is a dam that they're building it on. And we both laughed. We had the first time to rewind it as well because... and you were trying to jump on it, but no. Kevin Costner says, oh, you used to be famous. And Tom Petty's like, well... not anymore. It used to be. So Tom Petty is playing Tom Petty.
He's playing Tom Petty.
He is 100% Tom Petty. Both the character and I'm not actually going to act either. I'm just going to come on set, wear my sunglasses and say man 42 times. Have a blast. You know, you got to ride on a little contraption as well. Be on set.
The dramatic finale of the movie, we're going to have the most laid back person imaginable.
You just gotta zip line across the canyon, man. Won't be anything.
It's great because he's also heard of the Postman as well.
Yeah,
which is fun. Again, this is the world where Tom Petty exists.
Because Tom Petty has said to him like, you're famous,
but you're more famous now, man. You know, like totally. So Tom Petty shows him the zip line mining thing. I think it is. I don't know what the fuck it is. Pointed out how funny it was with it's got the big cement block that has to be dropped for the
reloading that's gonna suck.
yeah
they need to reload.
This is a one-off
climbing
thing.
up the stairs with fucking
we've got elephants at that.
You need to reload that thing. That's gonna suck.
And then this also brought a great laugh because as Kevin Costner's fucking zooping through, it's the best green screen. Rear shot.
It's 97 green screen.
It is fucking wonderful. But there's a lot of things here where this doesn't look like a 97 film. There's models.
Well, I just want to... I've got something to bring up for you here. So, visual effects supervisor Trisha Henry Ashford was fired several weeks before the end of production and replaced by storyboard artist David J. Negrin Jr. This was reportedly due to creative differences between her and Kevin Costner. She wanted most of the effects to be done in post-production, while Costner wanted them to be done in camera and on location.
Okay.
My boy Kev's a purist.
Yeah.
My boy Kev's a purist.
Yeah. Because again, 97, this is definitely a turning point in cinema. We're getting close to disgusting cheap. We're just going to cheap the fuck out on a post-production. So I'm on Team Kev here again.
Yeah.
So most of it looks great. It doesn't look like a 97 film. It looks 10 years earlier in terms of we're going to get the wee model shots. We're going to maybe not actually zipline a 50-year-old, halfway through a canyon, but there's a lot of great stuff here. This is also Tom Petty's departure from the film, so he's one and done really. He's got his few lines, he put on sunglasses and
I've got to do a concert, man. I'm
Got
heading out to Coachella, man.
Now the Heartbreakers didn't survive this. Only Tom did. This post-apocalyptic world.
I like to think they went off and started their own gang. Like the Heartbreakers are just we've got a pretty good name for a biker gang. They're like a Mad Max. It's like, no man, that's not my vibe.
It's also great because Tom sends them hurtling towards the finale. So I was like, great, we've got 15 minutes to go and Tom Petty's just throwing you down there move. So that's great. So basically it's just straight to the finale, isn't it?
Yeah, where the finale, the Postman and the fascists square off against each other. Costner rides out, dances with wolves, and Isaiah, this is an important part to you. So do you want to take over?
I've always wanted to see a movie where two armies line up and the two leaders who are the main fighters just go, no.
Have you seen Twilight? Last Twilight?
I haven't. So I'm going to step over that reference.
The right Twilight scene, the Postman.
Stephanie Meyer wants to rip Kev. She's just in line with Kubrick and Eminem, so really, fair enough. But I've always wanted to see a movie where two armies line up and then the two leaders of the armies just go, no, this is a 1v1 situation. So I'm like, when it happens, I'm like, of course, Kev was going to be the guy who delivered my dream scene. This is the scene I always wanted.
He's like...
Build the scene in Isaiah.
He's like, I don't understand. I don't understand why... He says, basically, war is old men dreaming up situations for young men to die. And he's like, you know what? I don't understand why, all these people have to die when, the two people are the two idiots at the center of it should be the ones to settle it, whatever. Costner has a line about the futility of war. Yeah.
And it's just incredible. So we're going to get what we want.
A homoerotic wrestling scene.
Yeah. There's a point as well where they're charging on horses, but bare armed, so it's like a jousting without a weapon, which I thought was great. And then we both lit up because it's the dive and double clothesline as well.
Anyone who's seen WWE knows the double down.
They know exactly.
Double clothesline.
They're going down.
Yeah.
Safe bump on the back. It's going to be ace. But no, then it does get strongly homoerotic.
Because it's directed the same way as the love scene. It's slow motion, lots of shots of just bodies intertwined. Exactly. You pointed that out. Yeah. And they're just it's not punches or blows or anything. It's just it's two men in a tight embrace.
Rolling. And there's too many ass shots as well. You said you couldn't tell the ass from head, but it does. It has extreme close-ups on Kev's ass, which is...
Well, he's directing it. He gets his ass out and dances with wolves. I remember a friend of mine was obsessed with that shot where he exits the pool naked, and he's like, why is he... I remember, mutual friend of ours, a twin, was obsessed with Kevin Costner's ass and Dances with Wolves. So clearly he's like, you know what?
Something.
And guess who ripped that later? Guess who ripped that off later? Tommy Wiseau. I need the show. They asked to sell this picture.
So again, it worked in dances. That won Best Picture. If I'm going to win Best Picture,
with a winning formula.
He didn't get it out though. That was the only. Maybe that's what would have taken away from a Razzie to an Oscar. But then he shows mercy because he's Kevin Costner and he's
Yeah.
great.
Saintly,
But
messianic.
he did this also Mortal Kombat 1-on-1 was so he could become leader of the fascists. Because they
Because
have
he challenges them
if you
through
challenge
their rule,
if you challenge a Mortal Kombat 1-on-1, then you can become leader of the eight.
That's how he tricks him into the 1-on-1, because the guy's like, no, fuck off, like, we're gonna all of us are
we'll
gonna
just
fight.
mow you down.
Yeah, and he's like, under Coughlin's law, number 1, like, any member of the clan can challenge the leader, and he's like, you ain't a member of the clan. Postman is like, I'm Shakespeare, and rips off his shirt to show the tattoo. Like, he rips off his Postman's blazer to show his branding.
Cry havoc.
Yeah.
He still doesn't deliver that though with like the gusto I expected. He's still because he's still not an actor. Costner's good at acting that he can't act, and I really enjoy that layers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna barrel forward. He's gonna win. He says, live and let live. My new laws, my new rules. We're all gonna get peace.
Yeah.
General
some
fascist
stuff with Ford Mercury Lincoln doing a gangland execution.
But he's like, no. General fascism tries to get the one up, grab the gun, sword, one of them, and gets popped by his second in command, which was a wonderful shot. And then we just...
Costner goes back, child is born, child is girl, flash forward, Postman 2049.
Wait, we gotta stay on the child is born scene for a second.
Okay, yeah.
9 years later, the child is born.
We really struggle with the gestation period here, given that there's a 3-month cabin sequence.
Yeah, so you've got 6 months to play with,
But the cabin sequence as well, by the time you get there, I'm giving it at least half a month to get there.
Yeah.
There's probably weeks of traveling.
Yeah.
You're probably at least in dangerous territory here, between going back and forward, between Ford building a revolution.
Riding all over, exactly, he's riding all over the country.
People have come and gone at this film.
I have a cousin in New Jersey. Can you deliver her a letter?
It's also as well, because there's a scene where
Arkansas,
when Ford's captured by general fascism and he meets another postman from a different area, California. So it's spread that fucking far.
Exactly, a nationwide movement.
And the kid's still fucking... She's not even showing yet.
No.
So the kid's born.
And the kid's born, she's like, oh no, this baby's like 3 months premature. It might not be
But the kid's born, and this is the theory I alluded to. I wanted to save it to the end though.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this is my final note for this in my the theory is that kid, which was born anywhere between realistically 5 to 9 years after that night where Costner banged another man's wife, is the postman's kid, but not the postman we think.
Oh, shit.
Well, because I did think that way, maybe it was like the third child at this point, she's just piling on. There's also a line when she's holding the baby, she's writing to Costner, and he comes in, he's like, the mail's late and stuff, it moves very slowly, it's taken months now for me to even get a letter, it's booming, so that's adding more time onto this period.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe your theory's right. What was your theory about how he moves about so fast, though?
100-mile-an-hour horse.
Okay, that's fine. The donkey wouldn't have been able to do that. So yeah, then we jump forward.
Postman 2049. It's 2043, isn't
30
it?
years after, exactly 30 years after.
Yeah.
Baby Hope is grown up
on my planet, this means hope.
Yeah. She's grown up to be a spokesperson, I think. Society is also completely recovered. I mean, we have yachts and stuff now. People are fucking,
It's like Martha's Vineyard.
She's capitalism wins again. We're all good. Costner's done it. So that,
the postmen are now working for Amazon.
Which is something I think you should end the film maybe on them building.
An optimistic note for the future.
You don't need to literally show me the future where it's better than life is now. And then this is the great. So she's got a statue and she's revealing it to her.
Yeah, it's a big moment because it's under a sheet.
It's a weird shape as well.
Exactly, it's so long. I was like, is this going to be like a good statue? Is this going to be a bad statue? Like the infamous Ronaldo statue. I was like, what Costner are we predicting? And none of us could have called what gets revealed.
Oh man!
So do you want to?
No, you take away. You get the honor.
Thank you. I will unveil this moment as Hope unveils the statue, which is the horse scene. So he's on the horse, outstretched hand, and there's also a statue. This little kid doesn't deserve to be immortalized.
But the little kid's there as well, by the way. I assume that's the aged up boy that's looking.
Oh, okay. I assumed that was a husband. Okay, no,
that's the kid. So he would have been.
I wondered why this person gets such.
He'd have been like, this is the biggest moment of my life. And
that makes sense.
See,
because
he's a genius.
I wondered. I was like, Kevin Costner told his kid about, this one time I thought about trampling a little kid and I didn't. And I'm really happy I made that decision.
And it's good direction as well. It's a terrible statue. I need to get that out of the way. It's fucking hilarious looking. I said it looks like it's made out of chocolate. You thought it was really Costner in blackface posing. But
no, there is a film technique where you can paint. You can paint
We're
real
not
people
denying
to
you do
look
living
like
statues. We've all seen living statues, Isaiah. I just do not think that was Kevin Costner holding completely still.
Yeah, I would agree to disagree. Because last time I checked, he fired the special effects person because he wanted to do everything in
Practically,
camera. I fucking bet you that's Costner in the cement paint.
He's just like, I really wish that we hadn't fired her.
Yeah.
I really wish, but this is the only way I know how to do it.
But this is the reason I got that was the kid, is 'cause it cuts from the husband, what you think, or whatever, looking at the statue, then it cuts to the statue kid, and then it flashes back to that scene for when the kid is actually in 2013.
In case you forgot,
In case you
this
forgot,
3-hour marathon.
I have to put these 15 minutes back in at the end.
Yeah.
And then that just plays us out for 7.5 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Which we didn't watch, but I still stand by there was no Tom Petty song.
Yeah.
You get me for 10 minutes, I wear my own sunglasses and I play myself.
I want to be taken seriously as an actor.
I will be a
I'm going to be playing Tom Petty.
It's the role I was born to play.
So Postman, as you may have guessed from the podcast thus far, not Razzie worthy.
No.
One of the most fun ones. Not objectively the best, but this is
one of them though. This is my top 3 that we've gone through so far.
Yeah. I had a great experience. I think like Cocktail and Indecent Proposal are probably better movies. But
I put this on. I don't know. I mean, Cocktails.
Blonde. Well, Blonde for me is on a. Blonde's just a genuine
Blonde doesn't
masterpiece.
count. Blonde doesn't count. In terms of, but then this doesn't need to be anywhere near it.
No.
There's no irony in here either. I genuinely enjoyed this. There's very little. Okay, for fixing it, take 20 minutes out, speed it along. You know, if this is 2.5 hours even, I would have been so much happier.
Yeah.
Especially that muddling period. The cabin shit as well. Move that along. You know, just have them moving on. Just get going. It's going at 100 miles an hour, but it could cut a little bit. But there's not one performance even. There's not one part. The screenplay is fine for me. Yeah, I wish it was more post-apocalyptic and not the plains and green grass everywhere, but that's nitpicking considering the shit that would make a worse picture. This is not actual valid reasons for me.
Yeah, completely agree. And Isaiah?
Razzie
worthy. Piece of shit. Eat it.
Okay. Another Kevin Costner masterpiece.
Yeah.
Kevin Costner masterpiece. Every one of his movies is 10 out of 10. This is for me.
This is probably my favorite Costner film though as well. I need to put that in there.
I've only seen 2 and this is my favorite.
Well, there you go.
Our normal feature, the smallest change you could make to make the biggest difference. This doesn't need fixing.
No.
The little cherry on top, I would like 2 minutes out of your day, film. Hello there, peace and love, it's President Ringo.
You want to add more time onto the film, huh?
Yeah.
I like it. If only this film was
more
longer,
time in the world of the Postman. Yeah. We are unanimous in our love and appreciation of the Postman. Mr. Razzie, on the other hand, does not agree because this film garnered a whole slew of nominations. So, this film also won Worst Actor.
No.
Kevin Costner.
Bullshit.
And then we are skipping down.
I want to say no to all of them, but read them out anyway.
So it also won Worst Director, Kevin Costner, which I don't love Kevin Costner as an actor. I think he's good at one thing and he sometimes overstretches himself. I do kind of like him in certain. I like him now that he's aged into gravitas. I like old man Costner a lot more than I like.
This is my favorite Costner because it isn't Robin Hood, Waterworld dances. It's not. Again, he's a fraud in it. You know, he's not playing the Messiah. He is a bit of a lazy dickhead. That just, you know, that's such a nice, refreshing change. He doesn't really act much differently, but that's okay with me because he's playing a different character. His direction is very unique to him. Well, I mean, it's not unique. It's unique to him, and he knows what he wants. You know,
Yeah.
he's got a vision.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate that, especially in the amount of shit we watch where there's just cookie cutter. It's just machine produced. This is someone with passion behind it that genuinely really wants to do something, and nothing but respect for that.
Well, I can see like nominating him for actor. Like I don't think for this like
He didn't win worst
I
actor.
think
Did
he won it. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
see, like bullshit.
I think he's I'm questionable on him as an actor, but as a director, Isaiah said like this is like basically faultless. Like you can't criticize this in terms of direction, really.
No. I mean,
And, like-
in terms of everything, in terms of framing, in terms of getting performances out of pretty much everyone, like, including himself, yeah, no, like, 100%.
And it also won Worst Screenplay, The Postman, screenplay by Eric Roth and Brian Helgeland, based on the book by David Brin. So, yeah, no, like, fine screenplay, maybe, like, a little flabby, but,
There's
like,
bits
it's
you
not...
can pick up, but it was coherent. It was never confused throughout it. Characters all had made sense for the most part. You know, everything was so easy to understand. There was bits I wasn't expect. It wasn't always as predictable as I expected. You know, like say like Giovanni getting, you know, shanked and stuff. Like characters came in and out. Yeah, no, it's flabby and there's bits you could improve on maybe, but like again for a worst actual Golden Raspberry, no.
Yeah, so The Postman actually went 5 for 5. Everything it was nominated for, it won, because it also won Worst Original Song. And you're going to hate this, because Mr. Razzi's back on his bullshit. The entire song score from The Postman, words and music by Jeffrey Barr, Glenn Burke, John Coinman, Joe Flood, Blair Forward, Maria Mikado, and John O'Manson.
Okay, so wait, the entire score is the worst song.
The entire song score. So, words and music, but there aren't...
I didn't remember much.
Do you remember any? Like, people sing in the background of, like...
Yeah.
I mean, there's musical bits when they're, you know, the hoedown. And
Yeah.
Costner sings Mr. Postman in the bath.
They sing a great rendition of "Come and Get Your Love."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
That's it. James Gunn is ripping off
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Add that to the
Guardians of the
list
Galaxy ripped off the Postman.
Yeah, no, utter bullshit. Because again, I've spoke about this. You can't. The entire score is not your worst original song. The score is fine as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's suitable.
Yeah.
It's very suitable especially for '97.
Yeah.
That featured Tom Petty.
Tom Petty doesn't have a fucking. He doesn't play the guitar. He doesn't sing. He's not gonna do it.
Oh right, he's a thespian now.
Yeah. With one rule, as long as I'm myself, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no bullshit as well. Like it's probably one of the weaker elements if you're getting really fucking harsh. But no. Worst score is not. No.
Yeah, so this is really perplexing why Mr. Razzie went so hard for The Postman with this 5 for 5, including concocting like a way to give it that fifth award, when, as we will cover in the second half, 1997, quite an interesting
you got
year.
a lot of things to pick on in '97. And
Yeah.
if you're telling me this is worse scores than X, Y, Z that we'll cover, then
Yeah.
no.
So yeah, join us for that, because we have a couple of my favourites coming up in this second half. Allow me to break the ice. My name is Freeze. Remember it well, for it is the chilling sound of your doom. Welcome back to part 2 of Watching Worst Films, where we will be covering the other nominees from 1997. We may not be the best podcast, but we are certainly the most disorganized, as as I'm sure you can tell. It has been another leap forward in time, and we are now recording remotely without Isaiah as we tackle the other big hitters from one of cinema's finest years.
I was gonna say we could have had a door sound effect of Isaiah leaving or something, you know, as he leaves to Montana, Alberta, or wherever. But yes, it's a bit disorganized. But here we are.
Here we are for part 2. So, our other Worst Picture nominees, we have Speed 2, Cruise Control. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. I have seen Speed 2.
I watched it just for this, so I'm coming in hot.
Oh, okay. So I've seen it. Okay, so I haven't seen it since. I've seen Speed 1 stupid amount of times. I've seen Speed 2 maybe twice. It was one of my VHS few things I actually owned.
Okay,
it's. I think I've spoke about Speed 2 on this podcast before.
Yeah.
I think even on Deadly Ground, it's like it's very similar to Under Siege. The boat basically,
Die Hard on a
essentially.
boat. Yeah.
Die Hard on a boat. It's not much different. I don't like Speed 2. I think it suffers massively without Keanu.
Yeah.
I think that's his biggest problem. I also think it's really stupid. And I think even as a kid, I still remember now that the tension is not there from Speed 1 because there's no speed. Slow Drift, the movie, is not, other than the devastation, going through like the pier. Yeah. It's so fucking boring.
Yeah, Cruise Control, beyond the going for the pun of Cruise Control isn't like a terrifying thing, is it? It doesn't suggest being out of control. It suggests a leisurely, steady pace.
Leisurely, steady pace. The movie doesn't have the same ring to it, but
Speed 3, help! I'm in a Tesla.
Yeah, I don't like Speed 2. I've never, like I said, I've watched Speed 1 again. I have no. I also, one thing I always thought was weird about it is like Sandra Bullock's the same character, isn't she? From Speed 1. But it never felt like she was.
No.
And that's so strange. There's, other than obviously her connection, that is such a strange disconnect from the first one.
She's so forced. Like, there's zero need for her to be in it, because they have that line at the beginning with like, relationships based on extreme circumstances never last. But
I remember that.
She's just forced into it, and they get a guy who's kind of Keanu, but like it's like they're just two separate things. And every time I was watching her, I was like, you do not need to be in this movie, because this movie is just trying to find things for you to do.
It's infuriating as well, because even when I was younger, I thought the logical step would be on a plane. There's the next one, and you have to refuel it midair, and it's got to get faster. Like all this exciting
Delete this
stuff.
Podcast, Kyle. Keep this idea to yourself.
Speed 3, here I come. So it's such a strange one. I mean, even Under Siege, that's where I was. Under Siege 2's on a train.
Yeah, okay.
Which is again exciting and logical enough.
You're running out of track.
Rails.
There is a logical end point.
Exactly. But the boat, nah.
Yeah. Interestingly, a friend of the show, Carrie, pointed this out to me. It was based on a recurring dream that Jan de Bont had.
Oh, good old Jan de Bont. He pops up every few episodes, doesn't he? We need to get him on if he's still alive. That's strange though, that you've got. I mean, I don't know. It's a success of the first one, isn't it? You can do whatever you like in the sequel.
Yeah, basing the movie on your recurring dreams being one of the more out there things.
It works for Lynch,
Jan de Bont and David Lynch, peas in a pod. It's sort of like off the beaten path, so we shouldn't count it, but it is notable, of course, for the Scottish character, in that Speed 2 basically has a Scottie. The technician of the boat or whatever is like, I can't do that, man. You're gonna blow the gaskets. LAPD, I didn't know if that is.
Oh.
But moving on to a movie which I have not seen, but you will certainly have plenty to speak about. Fire Down Below.
So yeah, I spoke about Fire Down Below on Deadly Ground episode. It is a spiritual sequel. It's not technically a sequel in any way. It's the closest Seagal ever came to environmentalism and the messages and themes. It's a very personal film for him. It's great fun. I want to do it for an episode. I'm sure I said that on the last time.
You want to do every Seagal film prior to 2007 as an episode.
He's fighting like toxic waste and stuff. Is like instead of oil, that's natural step up.
Steven Seagal and the Toxic Avenger 9.
Well, it's a great film because it shows what I wanted you to see, which is the weirdness of Seagal and not the squinty eyes, straight faced, the DMX films, that come out Half Past Dead and all this are shit because they are total straight faced. This is the first Seagal film where he plays the guitar. That is very famous for it. And he's really good. Like, spoilers, he is a good guitarist. He has fun. I like when Seagal's fun and a bit weird.
Yeah.
So it's It's one of his most, can't say technically best, but it's a great, interesting performance. It's entertaining. It's also got a lot of musicians in it. It's got Levon Helm from the band playing a preacher and his best friend, which is great fun. It's got Chris Christopherson as a villain, which is
Yeah.
again a nice step up because he's very hammy like Michael Caine, but he's great fun. It's short. It's probably Seagal's last really enjoyable film. Like really enjoyable, like fun, weird, quirky. It isn't as insane as On Deadly Ground, but it's got enough that it's a lovely mixture of entertaining, mid-90s cheese, some decent stuff in it. It's also one of his last real good fights in like choreograph. There's a really good scene at the start where he uses like a 2x4 to take on, I think it's like rednecks or a gang. And
Yeah.
it's fun, it's got some creativity in it. It's got good explosions. It's full of explosions like On Deadly Ground. Yeah, I really like Fire Down Below. I wouldn't have this. It's better than Speed 2 by a mile.
Then we have a film which is very close to my heart, Batman and Robin.
And my own. So this could be our combined most watched film we've seen.
Oh, quite possibly, yeah.
Quite possibly. This was one of the first films I ever went to see in the cinema.
I
At
have
7
very
years old.
strong memories of seeing this in Glasgow.
Yeah,
One of my last experiences going to the cinema before my brother was born, and my mum taking me while my dad was at work, and it just like blowing my mind. All that neon, all that day glow.
yeah. I mean, because right, so like even for some context, I watched a lot of 6 Days Batman, 65 Batman,
Same.
growing up. So like that was my Batman. I probably had more connection to West than I did even to Keaton. I had the Keatons and I'd seen the Keatons, but I watched West more. I don't think I'd seen Forever at this point. I think I'd seen Batman and Robin first.
I think I might be the same, yeah.
It might have Kilmer might have came not years later, but some time after. So I love Batman and Robin. I've got again, it's nostalgia, it's the cheese of it. I like, we're quoted it to open this second part. The only things I really don't like about it is probably Batman and Robin themselves. They're probably my least favorite parts of the film. Whereas
Yeah.
it's the cartoony world of the villains, Schumacher turning everything up, the Batman, the stupidity, like it's the production values I love, even though a lot of people think it looks gross. I really, really, really like this film. It's something that I could watch again. I would watch it over forever, any time of the week.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't have it here.
You're kind of right. Watching it again, I don't know how much is the writing, where obviously Batman and Robin end up like sort of hating each other for half the film, and that kind of rivalry. I don't know how much of it is the acting and George Clooney like speaking out against the film subsequently. Like I don't know if that's me projecting, but you can kind of tell that he's not really having a good time. And if you switched it up with someone who committed more to the sort of Adam West cheese, then that would improve the film, because
that's exactly. I get like I think Kilmer's too similar to Keaton, kind of, and it doesn't. It's got a weird clash. Whereas Clooney makes sense. I mean, even visually, it makes sense to be the West. But then he doesn't ever turn it up. He I call it phoned in. I don't know how much he hates the film, but he's lazy in it to me.
Yeah, he's joked about it a lot. Like when I saw him at the London Film Festival, he was making jokes about like Ben Affleck in the Tender Bar being Batman. He was like, and I was Batman too, of course. Like he brings it out as like a punchline a lot. It's like I don't think he resents it, but I'm like, where's this sort of fun jokester energy in the film? Because he's almost like playing it too straight.
And he can't do it, he does it.
Yeah.
All this, even in this time
when you
period.
pull out a credit card, a bad credit card, then there's no way to play that earnestly. So yeah, I'd like to see George Clooney play Batman again now, because I think he might be more on the right wavelength. Because this is sort of now that he's post Coens. Because if you take like his sort of goofball energy from like Oh Brother Where Art Thou or like Burn After Reading, that would be the perfect Batman for Batman and Robin. But he's still semi in ER mode.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Because I remember Oh Brothers 01, I think. And I remember when I seen it as an early teen, I was like, where the fuck was this 4 or 5 years ago? And like, this is the performance, this is the energy you should have been given to it. And that, like you say, a bit goofball, a bit more high energy. not sleepwalking. And like the biggest problem maybe is some of the performances are a bit like underwhelming at times, but like
Yeah.
I like it because again, Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey are insufferable in Forever. Whereas Uma Thurman's hammy and having fun,
Yeah.
and I'm okay with that. Arnold's having a blast. I'm okay with that.
I have just rattling around my brain on repeat, as I said to Lady Freeze when I pulled her plug.
She's my favorite part of the film. She wasn't as a child, like obviously Arnie. I had the Arnie figure as well, the action
Yeah.
boy. But
Yeah.
when I last watched it back, which was a couple of years ago now, Uma Thurman was just you're having so much fun here. You've nothing to lose at this point either. Like you're just so happy for her. She's great in it. I love when her and Bane are in their disguises. And he's still
Oh,
wearing the
that's so
mask.
funny. Yeah.
That's genuinely like funny to me. So yeah, they're the highlights for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoy it. It's if you were 45-year-old man child that moaning about the DC comics, then yeah, you're gonna hate it. But if you were
Yeah.
7 or 8 or however old we were, you're gonna love it.
Then we come on to Anaconda. Have you seen Anaconda?
Yeah, I have, but the asterisk is I see. I've probably seen this. Might be a record. I think I've seen every film so far.
Yeah.
But I don't. So I remember Anaconda, but
Yeah.
it's in flashes, if that makes sense.
To be honest, that might be the correct recollection because I just watched it for this, and I feel like I missed half the film. Like
Okay.
it just seems like flashes.
I get excited. Like I remember them going down is it the Amazon?
I guess.
The river. I remember it, and I remember the Anaconda, and I remember Ice Cube. So I'm getting things right, but like I don't remember what happens almost. I don't remember scenes and stuff. I just have like flashes. I have my Speed 2 dream, like I
Yeah,
see it popping up.
Jan de Bont had a dream where he was being pursued down the Amazon by an anaconda, and he was like, I don't have time to make both these. I'll just pass this one off to a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very appropriately, I guess, for an Amazonian setting. It's very fever dream of like some parts are incredibly vivid, and then other parts are just like the lazy connectivity, like the premise to get all these people together of like, oh, they're making a film or whatever. I was watching it and then I felt like, okay, this is plot, and then all of a sudden an anaconda just appears out of nowhere and you're getting like wild action scenes. And then there's a sort of lull, and then wild action scenes. It's a real sort of peaks and troughs film.
Which is, again, it's silly because it's such an easy concept. I mean, I'm thinking my beloved Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah.
You plot filmmakers into the jungle and just get things progressively worse. And it's the easiest. Just make a PG version of that with an anaconda instead of a cannibal tribe, and you're fine, really. Like, and throw in Ice Cube, throw in, I don't even remember who's the lead?
J-Lo.
J-Lo,
It's Mrs. Shigley herself. Yeah, no, it's a pretty good cast because we've got her, we've got Ice Cube, we've got Owen Wilson, we've got the hunter from Jumanji. Yeah, bunch of people. Danny Trejo's in it.
Oh, okay. I mean, obviously, but like, yeah, good on him. Good on him.
It's just what we've kind of spoken about before, about 1997 being this transitional point where what we were sort of saying about the Postman and Costner fighting for practical effects is both Anaconda and Speed 2 have like practical effects which would never be practical in a million years had this been shot even like 3 years later.
Yeah.
But it's such an interesting intersection. So like Speed 2 is like 99% practical, and then you just get like these shots of like a CGI boat going towards a harbor. It looks like something out of Birdemic or whatever. Yeah. And same thing with Anaconda. Anaconda treads the line a little bit better because the only time they use CGI is when like it's just something that would be unfeasible for a big rubber snake to do. Like when it sort of flies through the air and wraps itself around John Voight. But it's really charming because it has that practical snake. So you get this rubber head, like there's a tactility to it that you wouldn't get in 2001.
Like I don't mind that because, again, on so many of these, especially mid to late 90s, is because you're blending the effects.
Yeah.
I think, one of my favorite films is The Thing, which we spoke about before.
Yeah.
And
You mean the 2011's the thing, right?
It gets a lot of grief for some of the stop motion effects in it, and how they stick out like a sore thumb compared to some of the animatronics and the puppetry and things.
Yeah.
I don't care though, because they're trying lots of techniques to make it work. It's okay, 50, at the time you don't, when it's blended and you're not relying on just CGI or just this, like, it's creativity for me as well. Like, it's interesting. It's an effort, whereas, like you say, by 5 years time, it's just going to be progressively lazier and blander as well. It just gives it a bit of charm.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, the winner, The Postman. So, moving on to worst actor. Jon Voight in Anaconda as Paul Cerrone.
I don't remember Jon Voight in this, so I'm going to have to rely on you.
He is terrible. So, of course, we know Costner won, which is undeserved. Jon Voight should have won this because he's playing like a South American. Like, he's...
Okay.
He's like, if you take like a bad Jon Voight performance from, if you take a Jon Voight performance from post, like, what, Midnight Cowboy almost, post Mission Impossible, and then you add like a terrible accent on top of it, and he's just like, he's not good. He's real lazy, and just like, there's a scene where he gets like knocked out or something, like he gets clocked in the face with a rifle, and he just kind of like completely placid face, like turns his head, and he is really not good. Yeah, like, who would cast Jon Voight as a Paraguayan? I do not know. Like, the accent is just, it's not good. And for a career which includes the lowlights of Baby Geniuses to Super Babies and other sequels, it's kind of damning that this is even in contention as one of his worst performances. But yeah, not good. And then we have Steven Seagal in Fire Down Below as Jack Taggart.
Jack Taggart, like, that's a great name as well. Yeah, no, this is, again, I'm strongly going to say no. There's so many Seagal films where you can easily nominate him, and I'm not going to blink an eye to, but this, when there is certain level of charisma, dare I say it, and just charm, I think this one classic Seagal to fat, weird hair plug, squinting, body double Seagal this is his last great show. This is his Abbey Road of Seagal performances.
Put that quote on the box.
And again, I really like Fire Down Below, so that does help. Yeah, no, it's a strong disagree for me. Like I said, we will cover it one day. We will do it because it's nominated too much times. If it pops up two more times, let's say, because I know it's got one more. You've spoiled one for me. If it pops up again, it's getting watched one day.
Okay. And then we have Shaquille O'Neal in Steel as John Henry Irons / Steel. Have you seen Steel?
I don't think I've seen Steel. I thought I did. Right, so it's one of those, I've definitely rented it in this time period because it's a super Batman and Robin effect. I just want to see more superheroes. But it could be that, that Shaquille O'Neal effect in, what was it, Kazam or Shazam or whatever people thought they'd seen. I think Steel's my version of that, where I think I've seen it, or I'm not sure if it was real. It's weird because I can see him as well. I can see the outfit and I can see it in my head, like, clearly, but I don't know why. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a pass on this one. Shaquille O'Neal though is not a great actor, so it's probably deserved.
And then we have Batman himself, Val Kilmer in The Saint as Simon Templar. So have you seen The Saint?
I haven't. I've seen a bit of the Roger Moore TV show, The Saint.
Of course.
So this is, Kilmer being Batman and Bond is close to. Yeah. No, I remember, like, the cover art, I believe.
The sort of bluish poster.
Yeah. He's face and center.
Yep.
But I've not seen The Saint because it wasn't advertised to my time.
Yeah.
Like, my generation. We would have probably had, I don't know how close, what year it was, but when was the Avengers, the Uma Thurman and
that must have been like a couple of years later, maybe 99 or something. Okay. It was within 2-3 years. Like, it was, yeah.
So once I'm on the Mission Impossible boat, that's like more what I was well, that's what they were targeting to me. The Saint
Yeah.
was not targeted to me, so no comment, unfortunately. I will watch it though.
I might have seen The Saint years ago. I know my parents really liked The Saint, and both like that movie and just as a property. Like my mum explained, like, oh, and he's called Simon Templar, and he does this and this. And I think I might have watched sections of it as a kid, perhaps at the behest of my parents, being like, "Oh, you really like this? This is really cool," and I might have checked in and been like, I think I'm gonna go watch Batman and Robin. So he certainly isn't bad. Like he's certainly like he's just Val Kilmer doing Val Kilmer, and as you know, Kevin Costner won for The Postman, so that means no nom for Clooney. So if you're gonna nominate a Batman, they've dropped the ball, to be honest, because I think Voight or Clooney should have won this instead of Costner.
I mean, put Voight as the winner, take away Costner's nom, and give the nom to Clooney.
Yeah,
and that gives me a nice balance, and no one's complaining there.
Yeah. Interestingly, when they credit him as the winner, worst actor Kevin Costner in The Postman as the Postman (parenthesis Gordon Krantz).
Fuck,
So
who the fuck's Gordon Krantz?
is this going to be something like The Bride? Like the postman gets out his ID at one point, and we see like, oh,
but like I would he's called Shakespeare more in the film.
exactly, yeah. Like his name's never said in the film.
Never
He's
said.
credited as the postman in the credits. And
Could it-
so,
could
like,
it be
is this
from-
from the novel or?
Yeah, I was going to say, could this be from the book? Which would fucking not count. Like, unless Mr. Razzie just read the book and is basing all these nominations off the book.
It's his favorite novel of all time. Okay, then we have worst actress. Alicia Silverstone in Excess Baggage as Emily Hope. Have you seen?
No, I thought you were going to say Batman, and I was going to get all pissy about not being a lead actress.
Yeah, so it's a crime comedy about a woman who stages her own kidnapping to get her father's attention, only to be actually kidnapped. So a little bit Big Lebowski vibes.
Okay.
And Benicio del Toro is in it, and Christopher Walken. So I'm just going to guess Benicio del Toro is the devilish, roguish kidnapper who she ends up falling in love with, and Christopher Walken is the father.
Yeah.
And they go to Marie Callender's and get a big bowl pie ice cream, dumps it on his head.
Again, though, this was another recurring thing. I had a great run there. I think I've seen every film nearly.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see any of these fucking worst actresses because they're going to be one-offs. It's going to be some obscure thing I've never heard of. So, oh well, what's next?
Lauren Hawley, who's an actor I haven't even heard of, in A Smile Like Yours and Turbulence as Jennifer Robertson and Terry Halloran.
I fucking told you. Although I have seen Turbulence. Turbulence is just what I explained what I was wanting to do for fucking Speed 2, basically. So maybe that's why they didn't make Speed 2 on a plane now that it clicks. Turbulence is pretty poor. I haven't seen it in a very long time. But again, when I used to like the disaster movies, which is this year, which I think we talked about, like Dante's Peak, Volcano, and all this stuff. I like these. I don't know who she is in it, and I don't know the other film, so I don't really have a comment.
So she was Mary Swanson in Dumb and Dumber. She was Bruce Lee's wife in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, and she was Gigi in What Women Want. But she was also married to Jim Carrey from 1996 to 1997.
Well, that's interesting.
And I don't know her views on vaccines. Then we have Fran Drescher in The Beautician and The Beast as Joy Miller.
No comment. No idea.
The Beautician and the Beast, looking at the poster, it almost looks like a Hallmark movie, but I'm going to assume they got a theatrical release. Because Mr. Razzie, he plays by the rules.
Got to play by his rules.
Then we have Sandra Bullock in Speed 2 Cruise Control as Annie Porcher.
Yeah, which I've kind of covered already. Yeah, she's bad.
And then we have Demi Moore in G.I. Jane as Jordan O'Neill. So she's the winner. Another win for Demi Moore.
Yes.
It was a G.I. Jane joke.
I've seen G.I. Jane, actually. Have you seen G.I. Jane?
I have not.
Oh, okay. I rented this as a kid because I was obsessed with G.I. Joe. And I thought this was like the female, seediest version of it. No.
I think I
It's
thought
not.
that too, flicking through Sky Movies, and I was like,
Yeah,
this sounds like something I would enjoy. And
it's
my mom was
something
like,
interesting.
it's not what you think, Jericho. It is not what you think.
Yeah, my mum and dad didn't question it enough. They just let me pick it off the shelf, and
Yeah.
I remember sticking up. I have vivid memories of like watching and like my mouth just being dropped. Like, what? I should not. This is where's Cobra Commander? Like
Yeah, yeah.
where's Snake Eyes?
Yeah.
So I haven't seen it since that PTSD effect from a child. But yeah, like surprised to see to me. I wouldn't have given. I'd have given this to Bullock alone for Speed 2.
Yeah, he's just kind of like Mr. Razzi's back on his bullshit of he's clearly just dog with bone for Demi Moore at this point in time. I can't remember where this fits in the chronology, but this is like probably quite close to Striptease, so
Hmm.
clearly she's got momentum.
Yep.
Then worst supporting actor, we have John Voight in Most Wanted and U-Turn as General Adam
Oh.
Woodward / Lieutenant Colonel Grant Casey and Blind Man.
I have not seen either of these. I haven't even heard of U-Turn. Don't know what that is.
U-Turn I had heard of because that's a Sean Penn movie with Billy Bob Thornton and Joaquin Phoenix. Also got Jennifer Lopez in it. So the trailer the poster might look familiar. But yeah. Most Wanted was written by a Wayans. It stars Keenan Ivory Wayans, who also wrote it.
Okay.
So, and I'm guessing that John Voight plays a double role, which
Interesting. He was a busy man this year, though.
yeah, yeah. Then we have Arnold Schwarzenegger in Batman and Robin as Victor Freeze / Mr. Freeze. There's a
Hmm.
freeze coming to town.
Hmm.
So, obviously, I don't think Arnie has ever delivered a Razzie-worthy performance in his life, and certainly not in Batman and Robin, where he is incredible.
I like so yeah. I said I had these action figure, and I loved. It's how I know who Mr. Freeze is. I
Yeah,
wouldn't know if it wasn't for fucking Arnie. I do want to say the one thing I know about this film, like you talking about Clooney,
yeah,
was that Arnie got paid out the asshole for this film,
yeah.
and he apparently never shared set with anyone. All his stuff is just close ups, and everything else is body doubles because he didn't want to be in costume. And
Yeah,
I just thought, I think when I heard that was years ago, I went, this is the smartest man in Hollywood.
yeah. Hmm.
This is the smartest motherfucker I've ever
This is
seen.
a Machiavellian mind which will
Yeah,
soon turn to politics and becoming governor of
yeah.
the largest state. Yeah, no, that's incredible. So yeah, completely undeserved. On the other hand, Chris O'Donnell in Batman and Robin as Dick Grayson / Robin.
Who's, again, it's the writing thing, because I don't hate him as much in Forever.
Yeah, no, I don't think he's bad.
I think he's fine in Forever. He fits the campy mood and stuff. But
Yeah,
he's so fucking pingy and miserable, and I hate how he's written, and that doesn't help. Especially
yeah.
when you're not the greatest actor in the world anyway. Like he can't save the lines. Like I think Clooney could have maybe saved it a bit more. Sorry, Chris, but yeah, you deserve it.
And then we have Willem Dafoe in Speed 2 Cruise Control as John Geiger.
Who I blanked from my brain. I was thinking who the villain was in Speed 2. You
Yeah.
could have named anyone. You could have named Irons. You could have named a fucking Die Hard. Anyone. I forgot Defoe was even in it.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Like I'm grateful
Defoe.
for his presence because he like improves anything to just by virtue of being in it. And one of Carrie's observations with young William Dafoe is almost more unsettling than old Willem Dafoe because it's in that kind of like crossover like period where he's one of those actors a bit like Steve Buscemi, I guess, who I just don't think of as being like, I don't know, I think of them as being kind of timeless, I guess.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's Razzie worthy. I think he's great, and he's a big. In fact, he's probably the best thing about the film, if I'm quite honest.
That doesn't surprise me.
So he has a weird fixation with leeches, which is kind of irrelevant, but hey ho. And then the winner is Dennis Rodman in Double Team as
Oh,
Yaz.
Double Team. Right, so oh god, I am on a roll here. Yeah, I've seen Double Team. Of course, I have. I was a small Jean-Claude fan, I guess, like secondary to third. It's like Stallone. Fourth,
Yeah.
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Seagal. But I love talked about Bloodsport and some of the early stuff that I really enjoy with them. Talked about Universal Soldier and stuff that's going to pop up in other ways.
Yeah.
Double Team. is not good.
Yeah.
To put it mildly, Dennis Rodman was at his peak, I think, in 1997.
Yeah.
When we were talking about Arnie, I had a Dennis Rodman WCW action figure.
Yeah.
I didn't know who he was. He was with Hulk Hogan. He was cool. He had cool hair, and people booed and cheered for him. So he was in like one of the biggest sports things in the world at the time. He was one of the biggest basketball players at the time. He was in movies at the same time.
Yeah.
And like he is not an actor. He is worse than Shaquille O'Neal as well. Like he can't deliver lines. He's fun, like it's fun to see, but Double Team's not a great movie. It's not good at all. So this is deserved. I 100% agree with it, and it also makes him eligible to be a guest on the podcast. Like he can once he's done hanging out in North Korea, you can come over and zoom in from North Korea if he wants. I don't mind. That'd be fun. But yeah, he's terrible. Deserves it.
Well, you said Double Team was the peak of his career. I just want to put it to you that when Trump made him the unofficial ambassador to North Korea, that was the peak of his career. Then worst supporting actress, we have Uma Thurman in Batman and Robin as Pamela Isley, Poison Ivy.
We've covered this. This
Nonsense.
is a hard no.
Yeah.
This is a real nonsense. Move on.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus in Father's Day as Carrie Lawrence.
Never seen it. Have you seen it?
No, never heard of it. It's not a Gary Marshall anthology movie. So stars Robin Williams and Billy Crystal, remake of the 1983 French film Le Compère. So,
any other big names, or is it
Natasha Kinski? So does that mean the father in question is Klaus?
I'll watch it.
It's Ivan Reitman.
Okay. That might be fun. I don't think I've seen Julia much post TV.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen her on the big screen. I like her in Seinfeld, which would be at the time in '97. No comment. I'm intrigued though. It sounds better than the title suggests.
Yeah, very generic title for a movie which I'm assuming is going to have something going on. And then we have Mila Jovovich in The Fifth Element as Lilu.
That's strange. I don't really like Mila as an actress, obviously, for action hero Mila, Resident Evil, and all her things. I was going to say from Paul Thomas Anderson marries her. When
Paul Wes Anderson.
Resident Evil. But she makes her, big jump to that from probably Fifth Element, I would say.
Yeah.
She's good at being weird. She's very fitting for Fifth Element. She's iconic as well. Like she's probably one of the first things you'd think of.
She's just doing a weird Luc Besson female character. Like she kind of executes it to a T, I think. So it's hard. Hard to think why you'd harp on her.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's a very strange one because he doesn't have anyone else because he didn't watch fucking Fire Down Below, so he doesn't know who the females were in that.
It just opens the Pandora's box of. Now that Fifth Element is out there, are you seriously telling me that you enjoyed Chris Tucker's performance, Mr. Ressi?
Yeah. But they are the two performances that come to my head, though. You know what I mean? Like Tucker and Mila are the first things I probably think of for the Fifth Element.
No Bruno or Gary Oldman for you.
No Bruno. Yeah, no, not at all.
And then we have another Razzie favourite, Faye Dunaway in Albino Alligator as Janet Bourdreau.
That doesn't sound real. What's that?
Albino Alligator is a movie directed by one Kevin Spacey. So I actually kind of wanted to watch this, but ran out of time. It's like a noir crime thriller by good old Spaceman.
Oh, it sounds like one of those fake movies in 30 Rock.
Exactly. Yeah.
It doesn't. Okay. No comment. Never knew about it.
The title refers to an anecdote told in the film that claiming alligators will use an albino among them as sacrifice so that the opposing alligators will be distracted and become prey themselves. It's a metaphor. Oh,
so you could
almost say that coming out as gay to avoid accusations of child molestation, sexual assault is an albino alligator. And then, of course, the winner is Alicia Silverstone in Batman and Robin as Barbara Wilson / Batgirl.
Yeah, I really strongly agree here. I think this is, even as a kid, I really like Batgirl from the 6 Day show. I don't know what season. I think it's one of the last seasons the character joins. But she upstages a lot of them, and it's a great dynamic between like Sirius West and getting to old Burt Ward and stuff. Like I love Batgirl from the original show, and it's so badly written, yes, again, but like Alicia is terrible. I guess Schumacher just didn't really care about them three as much. He's having fun with everything else.
Yeah, I don't know if she's win worthy. She's not great, but
out of those nominations, she's my pick.
Out of those nominations of which you've seen Uma Thurman.
I'm not,
Okay.
Yeah.
It is curious that he goes for the top 3 cast of Batman and Robin, but not George Clooney. Like, Clooney's the only one.
Yeah.
Like, he goes Ivy, Freeze, Robin, but no Clooney, when arguably I'd say Clooney's the worst.
I don't know if we even spoke about it in the first part, but the one win / nomination I would have totally expected from the Postman was the blind lady.
Yeah.
Peggy Lipton's mom, because she is terrible. She is so bad compared to everyone else as well. She's so bad. Yeah, very, very surprised. But yeah, Alicia, I'm not arguing with.
Then, worst screen couple, we have John Voight and the animatronic Anaconda in Anaconda.
We've covered that.
Yeah, so the issue with the animatronic Anaconda is that, like, it isn't animatronic for the whole thing. There is like a really terrifying POV shot from inside the Anaconda as it swallows John Voight. And it's a little like the bugs from King Kong eating Andy Serkis, which is just etched into my subconscious. But I've got to be honest, John Voight is carrying the weight there because the animatronic Anaconda it's doing good. It's keeping this end up. Then we have Steven Seagal and his guitar in Fire Down Below.
And how that breaks my heart. That's what just talked 10 minutes ago how that's one of the best parts. And it's a great like dinner scene as well, where he whips it out for them, and because everyone thinks he's too, he's not down, he's not like roots or rural, he thinks he's just from the city and things. He's great. He's a good guitarist too. It's a really good fun scene. It's really short as well. It's a really short scene. He doesn't unfortunately, he's not like this drifter that plays the guitar and beats people up with it or anything. It's just one scene, but it's so memorable because, again, it's so weird. It's if Schwarzenegger whipped out a banjo and started playing, I'd be like so happy. It's Clinton in the sax. It's great. Yeah, no, it's a strong disagree.
Then we have George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell in Batman and Robin. Hard agree for me. Yeah. Sandra Bullock and Jason Patric in Speed 2 Cruise Control. Yeah, so he's basically playing...
He's not Keanu Reeves, is he?
No.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good one there. It's from what I remember as well, it's
they're not they're not together for half the film. They're kind of separate, doing their own things, and the scenes where they are together, you're like, can you split up again, please?
Yeah.
And then the winner, I'm going to hand over to you for this, Dennis Rodman and Jean-Claude Van Damme in Double Team.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could have picked any of those top 3 nominations, and I wouldn't argue.
Exactly.
Yeah, like Jean-Claude's great when he's, God, what is it? Is it Double Impact? No, I'm just getting confused with Double Team. When he plays his twin brother.
Oh, yeah.
That's great fun because he can carry himself. To a performance. Jean-Claude's best when he's not got someone to like team up with, essentially. Some of I love the Street Fighter movie. I think it's great fun, but he works kind of independently, and Kylie Minogue, who is terrible, they don't have like a romance. It's just Jean-Claude a way to kick Raul Julia. They've got that one-on-one, so he isn't great with people, and when you team him up with someone like Dennis Rodman, it's gonna be bad. You've got two people that can't deliver lines together. It's what's the opposite of Heat? It's So yeah, well deserved.
So that brings us on to worst remake or sequel. McHale's Navy. Have you seen that?
I have not. Well, I have not even heard of it.
Starring Tom Arnold and Tim Curry. It's a remake of the 1962 to 1966 TV series starring Ernest Borgnine. It's another one of Mr. Razzie's, like, Leave It to Beaver, like, those, like, 60s TV shows that he just gets weirdly weird about.
Yeah, we spoke about it, yeah.
Then we have, oh, hello, The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Shit. So, yeah, this is definitely the time where I'm starting to go to the cinema, because I went to see Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World, in cinema. Terrified me as a kid, by the way. Like, I loved The Lost World. As a kid. As a kid, I preferred it over the first one, I think, because I'm stupid. But
too, because like the long grass, like the raptor in San Francisco or whatever, like it had some of my favorite. When I think about Jurassic Park, like I really liked Sam Neill as a kid, but when I think about my favorite set pieces, they were probably from 2 as opposed to 1.
Yeah, the two T-Rexes when it's hanging over the truck.
Yeah. Julianne Moore on the broken glass.
It's great. So I can understand why people don't love it.
Yeah,
but it's
they're
one
wrong,
of those.
But I can understand.
But also just wait. You know, you'll be clawing for this. It's the Phantom Menace thing for me. You know, you will be biting your fucking words in 10 years, 20 years time.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's not been picked on anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because there's a few things I would have said, okay, I could understand maybe like Vince Vaughn or something being popping up here. But
we spoke about this a couple of weeks back about whether he would go for Jeff Goldblum's daughter who does gymnastics and kicks the raptor down the thing. And we do still have Worst New Star to come, but she hasn't featured thus far. So maybe Mr. Razzie is learning from his mistakes by 1997. You can teach an old dog new tricks. Then we have Home Alone 3.
Oh, well, speaking of Worst New Stars, this is Poor Kid, I'm assuming. Yeah, I've seen Home Alone 3. Have you seen Home Alone 3?
Not really. I think my brother might have watched it on VHS, like from the library. Like, it was around. I was in the vicinity, and I've seen segments of Home Alone 3, but I've never sat down to watch it end to end.
I mean, I defend it again. It's the worst is yet to come for the Home Alone franchise, but it's a tired, played out franchise by the third one, and without Culkin, like, you're always going to be doomed a little bit. Without John Hughes, you're going to be a bit doomed. It isn't as bad as people make it out to be. It's got weird bits in it I like. The kid being sociopathic almost is great fun. It's one of those. It feels like a straight to DVD or straight to video movie though.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't feel like a big budget. It feels like it's got such a jump down from the Columbus Hughes or times. But I get this one. I can't die on the hill that Home Alone 3 doesn't deserve a nomination.
That was maybe one of my first moments experiencing disappointment, or one of my most memorable moments experiencing disappointment as a child, was uncovering the existence of direct-to-DVD, direct-to-VHS Disney sequels. I was like, wow, they made a Lion King 2? Yeah. This is going to be great! And watching it, and then being like, I can't tell you why, but something is missing. And now you're able to watch it of like, oh, well, they had like 1/4 of the staff. Yeah. So there's just no energy to the background, and like their like the cast isn't the same. None of these people
also
committed
suckered me in for
manslaughter.
that.
Sorry?
They suckered me in with that because one of the Aladdin sequels, I think it's like Return of Jafar, is quite good and does have like some animators on it or something. Enough to suspend your disbelief as a kid. Yeah. And it made me think, oh, all the sequels must be fine, you know. Yeah. It didn't quite click as a kid until it was like Lion King 1.5 and all these terrible straight to DVDs. Straight to videos. The one for me actually was, I don't know if we covered it, I don't know if it's popped up, is the Andor films. The Star Wars ones. Yeah. Being a Star Wars-aholic, especially at this time period when Phantom Menace is looming and the re-releases are happening in 97, I think.
Yeah.
So I was obsessed, and I remember going to our video store and renting. There's 2 more Star Wars films, after Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
and something was off. Something was, you couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something was different.
Yeah, so Home Alone 3 is just one of those for me where, like, even as a kid, you can tell something isn't right.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Batman and Robin. Kind of covered that. I'm surprised that isn't the winner, to be honest. But the winner is Speed 2 Cruise Control. So, yeah.
I mean, I agree with Speed 2 because technically Speed 2 is a worse sequel to Speed 1. Whereas like we said, Batman and Robin, I prefer over Batman Forever. So it's an improvement. So yeah, like technically worst sequel, 100%.
Worst director, we have Oliver Stone for U-Turn, which neither of us have seen, but we've kind of spoken, both of us, about not being huge fans of Oliver Stone in the past.
Not at all.
Joel Schumacher for Batman and Robin. He's a visionary.
Yep.
Luis Losa for Anaconda. Anaconda's all over the place, and some of that has to lie with the director. And then we have Jan de Bont for Speed 2 Cruise Control, which we've kind of covered. And then Kevin Costner for The Postman. Winner.
Again, big no. Yeah, again, give it to Jan de Bont.
Yeah.
Sorted.
Yeah.
Move on.
And then we have Worst Screenplay. Speed 2, Cruise Control, screenplay by Randall McCormick and Jeff Nathanson. Story by Jan de Bont and McCormick, based on a dream by Jan de Bont. The screenplay is pretty bad.
Yeah, again, I think I'm going to say this is worst director. It'll be, I know Costner won for this one, didn't he?
Yeah.
Swap it out with Jan de Bont. And I bet you there's no other new ones. I could be wrong. I don't know if Double Team is going to get a worst screenplay, because he hasn't seen it.
So next up we have The Lost World Jurassic Park, screenplay by David Koepp, based on the novel by Michael Crichton.
Mm-hmm. That's a joke, but okay.
And then we have Batman and Robin, written by Akiva Goldsman, who Akiva Goldsman, I believe, is someone you have some feelings about.
Yeah, I do, for lots of different reasons. He's gonna, what year is this? 97, so we've got about 15 years. There's going to be an episode soon where we're going to cover all this in extensive detail. But once my beloved Star Trek gets destroyed, I don't know if Akiva did Nemesis. I could be wrong, but because that's 02, you're going to have to look this up for me.
Let's see.
Or is he just the new one? Okay, he's just the new show then.
He's just Discovery, Picard, and Strange New Worlds.
Boo. Yeah, so for some reason I thought he might have done co-wrote Nemesis for some reason, because Nemesis sucks. But yeah, he destroys my beloved franchise. Not single-handedly. Alex Kurtzman's going to do equal damage. It's just, yeah. So we'll cover it.
I love how we've lashed out 45-year-old man children being precious about Batman, and we're like, Alex Kurtzman, blood is on your hands. You ruined Star Trek.
It's so easy as well. Like but it's asking me. It's like, it's cluelessness is what annoys me. I think Batman and stuff is like so easy. You can have it either way. You can be Nolan, you can be Schumacher, you can be Burton in the middle, you can be West. As long as you don't make it boring, I'm okay. You know what I mean? But like, if you ask me to do something I had no idea about, I wouldn't be able to do. I would say no, thank you. I will pass on this project, because like, I'm not gonna get passionate about it if I don't know this something that, like June or something, I'm not going to, if I didn't know anything about the books, if I was like David Lynch, I would have just said, no, I'm going to pass, because people are going to hate me for me changing everything. And I've spoke about that before.
Yeah.
I'll just make my own thing. I'll go make my own sci-fi thing. So that's what annoys me the most about like Kurtzman and things, is like, you've just jumped on something like thinking it's easy, and you could have just said no. And it is easy as well. Like, that's the other frustrating thing. It's not hard to make a fucking Star Trek show. So yeah. Anyway, there's in our 24-hour episode on The Final Frontier, I'll cover all this.
We'll just need to do that as a live broadcast. I will drop in and out, and it'll just be a live stream of Kyle speaking about Star Trek for 24 hours. Then we have Anaconda, written by Hans Bauer, Jim Cash, and Jack Epps Jr. Hard to say. It's not a great screenplay, but on the one hand, kind of, do you really need a screenplay for a movie about an anaconda?
Exactly. And then
of course,
and
the
that
winner.
leaves
Oh, sorry?
Costner, yeah. I'm sorry, I was going to say
the
that.
winner.
Oh, my last thing, that they're leaving it, this Postman means Fire Down Below has escaped, worst screenplay, which is great because, you know, he hates the music, he hates the Seagal, he hates the film in general, but the screenplay, you know, that's all right.
Yeah.
That was a,
Well, it's another
good
actor,
idea in there.
another song. So, of course, as we have discussed, the winner is the screenplay. The winner is The Postman, screenplay by Eric Roth and Brian Helgeland, based on the book by David Brin. So, we're coming to the end now with Worst New Star.
Here we go.
Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element and Money Talks as Ruby Rod, and Franklin Hatchet.
I have not seen Money Talks, I don't believe.
Yeah.
No, I don't think. What's Money Talks? You got that there? I don't have it.
Brett
open. I can't
Ratner
find it.
movie. Oh, well, it's the directorial debut of Brett Ratner, starring Chris Tucker and
Okay.
Charlie Sheen.
Oh, what a double team. Like, yeah. I know Tucker's insufferable in Fifth Element. He's meant to be, though.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So it's like, I give it a pass. Chris Tucker post Fifth Element, though, like, he doesn't become a great star. So technically,
Yeah.
worst new star. Like, yeah, I'll give it to it. I'll allow it.
Yeah. Then we have Howard Stern in Private Parts as himself.
Yeah, I tried to watch Private Parts one time.
Oh.
I think it was when like a biodome, like who's the most insufferable people in the world, like Pauly Shore, Howard Stern. Who do I not like? I'll try and watch the Carrot Top movie or something, you know. So just do these, you know. Like, I'll try everything. I couldn't make it through Private Parts. It's not for me.
Yeah.
I don't like Howard Stern.
Yeah.
I don't like his radio show. It's not for me.
I don't like your jerk-ass name, I don't like your jerk-ass show, and I don't like you, jerk-ass. Tori Spelling in The House of Yes, and Scream 2 as Leslie and herself.
Okay. What's the House of what?
The House of
The
Yes,
House of Yes.
is adapted from a play, Parker Posey, American dark comedy.
Okay.
Jackie O is obsessed with Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and emulates her sense of dress and hairstyle. Someone gets released from a mental hospital thinking that they are Jackie O.
Okay. Another fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have seen Scream 2. I don't remember her in it. Scream 2 is not a great sequel to Scream, and I love Scream, and I enjoy the third one as well. I think it's got the anti-Star Trek where the odd ones are better than the evens. So yeah, I don't remember. I can't recall her in the second one.
Yeah, I can't really recall anything either, so yeah, no comment on that. Then we have the animatronic Anaconda in Anaconda, which, as we've established, no.
No.
And that leaves us with the winner, Dennis Rodman in Double Team as Yaz.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue, hard to stand up for it. Much like the animatronic Anaconda, his career doesn't blossom after this.
Yeah.
I will say, very grateful that the kid didn't get nominated from Home Alone 3.
No kid
That's
for Home Alone
that's
3,
nice.
no kid for Jurassic Park 2, yeah.
Yep, I'm happy to see that. That's nice. Give it to animatronics if you're going to be pissy, but just, leave the kids out, and that's cool. I'm happy with that.
Hey, Mr. Razzie, leave those kids alone. Worst original song, My Dream from Speed 2 Cruise Control, written by Orville Burrell, Robert Livingston, and Dennis Halliburton. So this would be easy to gloss over, but like, as we have discussed, Speed 2 is based on a dream. So I wonder if Jan de Bont was just over their shoulder being like, yeah,
That's why
and
you
then
picked it, yeah.
we crashed into the pier, and then I woke up. So I had difficulty finding My Dream online until I looked at the end credits of the movie, and I saw that while written by these three, it was performed by none other than Shaggy.
Oh. I could have said anything there. That's anticipation. How is it? I didn't hear it. I didn't get around to it.
It's fine. It's fine. It's a Shaggy song. Like,
Best part of Speed 2.
And then we have How Do I Live from Con Air, written by Diane Warren, which was also Oscar nominated.
Yeah, another one. What's your thoughts on How Do I Live?
A little bit cheesy in the production, but like I don't know if I like the verses, but the chorus, you can't deny the chorus. It works. It
Yeah,
works.
that's
It
what I was
suits
gonna
Con
say.
Air.
I guess I was gonna say it's a thin, thick layer rather of plastic cheese, which is perfect for Con
Yeah,
Air. I
exactly.
mean, it's
Nicolas
not.
Cage's hair
It's
blowing in the wind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's perfect for it. So I disagree with this one being here. I'm on the Oscar side here.
Then we have Fire Down Below from Fire Down Below, music and lyrics by Steven Seagal and Mark Colley.
But you didn't hear this one, did you?
I couldn't find it, no.
Yeah, all right. So I do know it because obviously I do, and you will
Yeah.
hear it when we watch Fire Down Below. So you can record yourself then talking about it. I like it.
I'll become a George Lucas revisionist and I'll just insert myself back into this episode.
It is cheesy. It is very cheesy. Seagal isn't the greatest singer, put it mildly.
Yeah.
But he's a really good guitarist. It fits it though. I mean, this is a stupid film. This is cheese. You need that sleek guitar solo sound. It is not his best stuff when he does the blues, and that's on his CDs. So it's not peak Seagal music. And the little acoustic thing I told you about in the film is great. But yeah, the biggest thing I have against this song is you do have musicians in this film. You have Lee Von Helm and Chris Christopherson, and you don't utilize them, which is a bit stupid. I would get the soundtrack to have all these 60s and 70s like Americana music and stuff, because that's what the film's about. But okay, yeah, I'm not happy, but that's enough nominations to cover Fire Down Below, so I'm happy.
Then we have The End is the Beginning is the End from Batman and Robin, written by Billy Corgan. So this is the Smashing Pumpkins song, which I was almost up in arms because I thought it was The Beginning is the End is the Beginning, but it's not. It's the two songs which are very similarly titled. So the one I like is the one that's used in Zack Snyder's Watchmen trailer.
Yes.
And The End is the Beginning is the End is the worst of the two.
It is. I made the same mistake. I had this album though. Oh, fuck, what one is it again? The actual album, not the soundtrack.
That's not Melancholy, is it?
I believe it is.
Melancholy,
I believe it is.
Infinite
Yeah.
Sadness. Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't the biggest Smashing Pumpkins fan. This is just when I'm devouring alternative rock and grunge from the 90s.
Yeah.
But you know what? I still like the song.
Yeah.
I always say Batman and Robin would have been better to have Prince than the first Keaton Burton one. Prince would have been wonderful to be in this film. But you know what? Like, it's Smashing Pumpkins are probably at their peak in 97, so like commercially it makes sense. But yeah, I don't think this is a bad song at all.
And then we get the winner, which, as we've covered, is the entire song score from the Postman. So we're kind of left without an obvious winner.
Yeah, this is a strange one. Like, and I'm sure there is worse things. I don't know. I was like just trying to think off the top of my head, like, but the worst original songs are dying out by this point a little bit. Even there, that's an already established Smashing Pumpkins song really put on. Isn't it? The Postman didn't have anything they didn't have a Kevin Costner singing song or something. Yeah.
So yeah, ending on a bit of a damp squib. But wait, what's this? Mr. Razzie has another bullshit award he's made up. So this one does actually reoccur. Worst reckless disregard for human life and public property. So the nominees are Volcano, Turbulence, The Lost World, Jurassic Park, Batman and Robin, and the winner is Con Air.
Oh, okay. So, has this one come up before? If I just get dementia here?
I think this might be one of its first appearances, because it definitely comes up, like, Dragged Across Concrete was nominated for this, and, like, it comes up in later years. Like, this is probably the first appearance I can remember, but it comes up in the late 2000s for sure. And I'm like reverse engineering it. Like, Joker was nominated for this, I think.
Okay.
I'm reverse engineering what it could mean by the nominees, and I think it's just like worst action movie.
Well, yeah. So I'm trying to. I'm taking it quite literally. That it's like destruction,
Yeah.
especially when you got Volcano
Yeah.
finally popping up here. I'd forgot. I'm glad I mentioned that before, the Volcano, because I forgot about that film. I forgot it was 97. I thought it was the same year as Dante's Peak for some reason.
Yeah.
Like Twister's coming around as well. And
Yeah.
all these films of. However, I will say, so if it is like public destruction, where the fuck's Speed 2? Because
Yeah.
that's what I just was saying before. The pure destruction scene's like the only thing that I remember about it properly. And
Yeah.
that is the reckless display of public property destruction.
Yeah.
So it's a strange one. Weird to see like Volcano pop up in Turbulence again. They've not watched them, so that I assume that's why they're not popping up more. Lost
Yeah.
World though is strange to me being here. Whatever. I don't really get this one.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Like Con Air, arguably, they're in the air for half. I guess they crash the plane or whatever. They throw the guy out the plane, but I'm like, Con Air's off the ground, so like, I guess human life and public property. I don't know. Humans are killed, but like, Con Air pales in comparison to Volcano.
Volcano would be there.
Yeah.
You could pick anything then, really, couldn't you? You could. Probably Anaconda's got the highest body count. And that's reckless display of human endangerment. I don't know. It's a strange one. I don't quite get this one.
And we'll just finish off with our friends at the Stinkers, because they are going in 1997. So the Stinker Bad Movie Awards are kind of like the rival Razzies. And their worst picture ballot was Starship Troopers, The Postman, Lost Highway, Fifth Element.
Oh, God almighty.
And the winner was Batman and Robin.
That first three is targeted specifically to me, isn't it? That's like I will say I'm glad the Razzies laid the fuck off Starship Troopers, because I would have been pissing blood for a whole episode.
I can't remember if we said that on the podcast or if it was just watching the movie, but when Costner and co are hanging around the quarry, we were like, this looks a little bit Starship Troopers, and me and you were trying to work out if that was 1997.
Yeah.
Based off when we were watching the TV show.
Well, I went to see the first one in the cinema. Again, 97 is like Kyle's going to the cinema once a month or something, because it's a cheap day out for the family. Yeah. I've seen Starship Troopers and adore it. So, yeah, like, I'm glad that avoid Lost Highway popping up. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that Stinkers are a weird one.
I'll just run through the dishonorable mentions for you. Alien Resurrection, American Werewolf in Paris, Anaconda, Baps, Bean, Booty Call, Con Air, Double Team, Excess Baggage, Face Off, Father's Day, Fire Down Below, Flubber, For Richer or Poorer, Free Willy 3, Gone Fishing, Home Alone 3, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Jungle 2, Jungle, McHale's Navy, Mr. Magoo, The Pest, Rocket Man, A Smile Like Yours, Speed 2, Steel, Till There Was You, Turbulence U-Turn, and Vegas Vacation. And then the Stinkers weirdly have expanded this year, so I'm just going to read you out two categories. Two of them, they're kind of beating Mr. Razzie at his own game, where they've got two categories they've made up, which kind of relate to what we are speaking about. Most unwelcome direct-to-video release: The Land Before Time 5, The Mysterious Island, Ernest Goes to Africa, Casper, A Spirited Beginning, Another 9.5 Weeks, and the winner, Pamela Anderson Lee's homemade porno video.
Okay, you know what? That's actually quite funny. That's why I expect more from the Razzies, to be honest.
Mr. Razzie wishes he could come up with something.
He wishes. Like that is actually quite funny, yeah. Okay, fair play.
And then this one is just a bizarre slap in the face. Lifetime Non-Achievement Award, the Hall of Shame. So in ascending order, with 13% of the vote, Mel Brooks. How on earth are you going to nominate Mel Brooks for a Lifetime Non-Achievement Award? A man who arguably defined comedy for multiple decades.
God
help us.
What a long stretch. That's what I was going to say. If he's 13%, though, that's a shocking amount. Why is he even there? Continue.
Then a step up with 24% of the vote, Burt Reynolds, another Razzie fave. And then Whoopi Goldberg on 26% of the vote. And the winner, with an overwhelming 37% of the vote, is Chevy Chase.
His career's coming to a screeching halt now, though, to be fair. But, you know, it's this is the problem where you can't do these kind of awards, because you can't have a lifetime of no achievements and still get work. You know what I mean? Like, you've got Pia Zadora and be out. You know, you can't. Bo Derek's done when John Derek's done. You know, like. you can't. Chevy Chase is, like you say, he's in the leading star of them, one of the longest running the longest running comedy show probably of all time. He's been in like multiple, classic films from Caddyshack to Fletch to National Lampoon's Vacation. You can't say he's had no achievements. He's made more money and been a box office success than most people would ever. It has to be people that burn out really quickly. What we talk about, like Mark Dacascos, like being a poor man's like Jean-Claude or whatever. These ones that just float around Stargate Atlantis and random TV shows, like because they can't break into Hollywood. That's the failures. That's the ones that don't make it. My beloved Edward Furlong is someone that's like, okay, I understand it. Like that's personal issues and stuff as well, but you are not this box office success after 20 years you're doing bit parts and stuff like on TV shows on Channel 5. You can't be running in Hollywood. You can't consistently get work and be a non-achiever.
Chevy Chase has a street named after him in Glendale, and if that is an achievement, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I didn't even use like Community when I'm doing the examples.
I know
I'm going
his
off,
best
like,
work was
stuff,
arguably yet to come at this point in time. So that brings us to an end for another episode. We would just like to say thank you to Isaiah for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Isaiah.
In the meantime, you can follow us at Watching Worst. You can send us an email at watchingworstfilms@gmail.com. And you can join us next week when we'll be back with another guest and another special, because the time keeps on moving on. And we are coming up for North American Mother's Day, which means we are going to another one of our anthology episodes. We brought you Valentine's Day a couple months back, and we are returning to you with Mother's Day. So join us for that one.
We look forward to it, guys. See you later.